From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a severe weather alert.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist Taylor Platt alongside meteorologist Kelly Ross and Chase Wilson also in here as well. This is another update. We're at 4:30 this afternoon on Thursday. We still have that tornado watch that is in effect until 10 p.m. here for our Tennessee counties here. Northwest Alabama, you're still not under a watch yet, but we are keeping an eye on these cells that are developing out in northern Mississippi because they could start to flirt with the Shoals area a little bit later on down the line. We only have one severe thunderstorm warning that is in our Tennessee general area. That's in this Selmer storm that is now moved generally to the east of Selmer now. This is still right along Highway 64. This is Tennessee Highway 224 near the Adamsville area. A lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain, some pea-sized, maybe dime-sized hail. I don't think it's as strong as it was earlier. I'm not seeing those kind of pinks and purples that we had in the reflectivity earlier. Still a little bit of rotation with it, but it's not overly strong. If we look at the velocity data, just a little bit of some rotation here, but it's basically just tells me, hey, it's just rotating. It's going to have that hail potential and some damaging winds, but there's really not a tornado threat with this. This will eventually make its way into western Hardin County here, so Savannah heads up to you, Saltillo heads up as well. It's going to be entering your neck of the woods here in the next 20 minutes or so, I would think. And then if it continues to track to the northeast, it will eventually get into parts of Wayne County as well. Speaking of Wayne County, let's look at that Wayne County storm. We've been watching this on our sky cams for the past several minutes. It's very small, but it does have a good amount of, I should say, just has a really good signature with it, at least on our radar, and then also on the...
That's a new severe
that's
for Hardin,
that one in
McNary,
Mississippi.
Alcorn, and Tishmigo.
So then we'll bounce to that here just shortly. But again, we're watching this area rotation here. What I was trying to say is that the storm, the structure on it visually looks very impressive on some of our sky cams. There is a lowering with it. There's a wall cloud. It's pretty ragged, but it's not spinning overly fast, so there's really not a huge tornado risk with this right now.
I'll throw that up.
But it is something that we're watching. Yeah, let's go up to, we're going to Lawrenceburg, right?
Yeah, and we got a distant view of it there.
This is our distant view. I'll kind of back away right here. You'll see right here, that's that tail cloud coming back into that wall cloud. So this is your updraft coming right through here. Yeah, thank you. So I don't have to stand off the screen here. All of a sudden, you see this arm just coming out of nowhere. But here is your wall cloud right here. There's rotation with it. It's not overly strong, and it's not really tornadic. And again, just because you have wall cloud doesn't mean you're going to end up getting a tornado. You have to have other things in place. You can have a wall cloud that actually doesn't rotate. So it's just the lowering of the base of the storm. And it is back right in this area to the south of Providence. Providence, you're seeing heavy rain, maybe a little bit of some small hail, but it's this backside appendage right here, this little hook that we're watching for. And the thing that we're watching, Chase, was that this was kind of developing new storms with it. So this could take it a little longer, but it could ramp back up because of what it's been doing with ingesting some of those other cells that developed just ahead of it. So again, that's not our concern right now because we have a new severe thunderstorm warning back off to our southwest. GWX would be a good source, yes.
Yeah,
and
I do want to mention we do have a fairly, 1 second, stand by.
Yeah, go ahead.
Switch to here. We're starting to see that kind of mid-level mesocyclone ramp up on this one.
Yeah, and we've been watching these storms. So again, I know we've dealt with a lot of storms already, and I know a lot of our places, they haven't seen any storms yet. Lawrenceburg, I don't think you've seen. I think we had a passing shower or something earlier, but Lawrenceburg, we hadn't seen a storm yet. Pulaski, you hadn't seen a storm yet. So just because you hadn't seen one yet doesn't mean that you're not going to get one because we have a long way to go. If you remember what we talked about with that storm timeline, it's about a 12-hour window from about noon to midnight for a good portion of our viewing area. And of course, a little bit further to the south in northeast or northwest Alabama, kind of closer to that noon to 7, maybe 8 p.m. time frame if these storms tracked in those areas. But this is a new severe thunderstorm warning here. This includes McNary, Tennessee, Alcorn, Mississippi, Tishomingo, Mississippi, and Hardin counties in Tennessee. Yep. And it's for this supercell that's moving into the Corinth area right now and will eventually track its way across the Mississippi-Tennessee state line and get either into extreme southeastern part of McNary or just go into the north or the southwestern part of Hardin County. Savannah, you're in this severe thunderstorm warning. Walnut Grove, you're in this severe thunderstorm warning. Iuka, you're not in the warning. I think the bulk of this ends up missing you to the north, so this would be a northern Tishomingo County storm here, as opposed to down towards Iuka. Do we have, we're getting a storm track on? You're going to do the whole line, it looks like, which is good.
Yeah, because we're kind of connected with these cells. She's going to just do some general times of arrival here on 3. She's drawn that now. I'll throw you up here. So there you go.
Go ahead and, Chase, go ahead and mention those counties real quick. I'm going to read what the Weather Service is saying over here.
Sure, yeah, I'll tell you about a little bit of those arrival times. So we're starting with Stantonville and Corinth, both respective for their cells. Right about now, you're starting to see those severe conditions. Stantonville up there in McNairy County is just now seeing that first initial push out of those winds. Then you get out towards Biggersville at 438, Mickey at 439, so here just in a matter of a few minutes. Farmington at 442, Crump at 443. Savannah proper, as it heads into Hardin County, will be at 449. Glenn at 450. Koontz at 456. Short at 504. Olive Hill at 507. And then you head out towards Walnut Grove at 516. So around that same time, around 510, 515, you're starting to head into Wayne County. We'll have to see how the storm evolves out that direction. And
while I was reading over here, the Weather Service, so some storms, this is from the Weather Service in Memphis, so this is who issues these severe thunderstorms, these warnings over here. That's their warning area. Some storms are showing some low-level rotation, but still very side-lobed. The radar is kind of having a hard time seeing some of that rotational signature, but they are noticing that we are getting more rotation with some of these cells. So let's take a look at the velocity data.
Sorry, I switched
and
gears.
well, actually, that's from Memphis. That's looking pretty good. Is it correlate with where that reflectivity is at?
Let's do a little circling here.
Yeah.
So here's kind of our core area, and
yes, it does.
Yeah, it's kind of right there.
Very
in that
much
notch.
so.
Yeah.
So there might be, give it some time, there might be a developing tornado with this supercell that would go on the southeastern side of Corinth here between Glenn and Corinth, right along Highway 72 that goes west from Burnsville here in northeastern Mississippi. And if this continues to track this way, it will get towards Counts and the Tennessee state line here in Hardin County. I think the Hell Core, depending on what's the motion on this? Is it, put it into motion real quick, is this moving more east or is it moving more
So
north?
this supercell's kind of, let me zoom out a little for you. We're kind of lost a couple scans there.
Yeah, it's kind of going like this right through here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say about like that. So it would generally be moving into southern Hardin County, central Wayne County. In the next, I'd say 30 to 45 minutes.
So the Hell Core will probably get into parts of southern McNairy County and southwestern Hardin County. The tornado potential on the backside of the supercell will remain in the northern Mississippi area, and it probably will skip McNairy County, and if it enters, or when it would enter Tennessee, it would enter Tennessee here near the Hardin County area, right towards the Tennessee River here in Pickwick Lake.
I drew up a specific cone there for you, just so we can kind of get a sense of this feature, because obviously we did earlier the general path eastward, but of course now we're talking individual features. So I think this is important to highlight too. We're also talking, I'm going to go over these here for the hook feature, because again, it's not tornado warned, but you know, on environments like this with tornado watches, you need to watch for at a moment's notice for things to possibly spin up. So we'll be talking Jobs at 441 there. That's in Alcorn County. But as we head towards Corinth at 442, Farmington at 445, Glenn at 447. And again, you heard some of these communities earlier, but now we're getting a little more narrowed down to Kendrick at 452, Liberty at 453, Dosky at 456, Southside at 458, Pine Flat at 459. Then you're crossing into the hour at Crossroads at 5 p.m. Counts at 503, Short and Pyburn 504 and 507 respectively. So again, that's whenever we're starting to head into the Tennessee side, Hardin County, over the next, as you can see here, 20 to 25 minutes. So this cell's moving northeast about 40, 45 miles an hour, sometimes up to 50 as of right now.
Yeah, these storms, they're not booking it. They're not coming at you at like 55 to 60 miles per hour, but they still got a pretty good clip to them, around 45 to 50. Chase, when you get a moment, you don't have to do this right now, but I'm curious what the shear skit has information-wise, what the BTI is on that.
1 second, let me see what that new warning was. That was the one we were just looking at there in Murray County. We got a severe thunderstorm warning in that with a TOR possible tag.
Okay.
We'll continue with this.
Let's look. Let me look at the shear skit real quick on this. See what the BTI is. The BTI is at a 4.8. or excuse me, 4.6. So it's not overly high. Anytime we get the BTI that's up towards like 6, 7, or 8, you start getting really concerned about some tornado potential with that. All right, let's switch to that new severe thunderstorm warning.
All right.
And that is for...
That is the one we were looking at earlier here. Obviously, it doesn't look as good up here, but I'll switch to our live radar, and you can really get a better sense of it. And I was actually...
Is it that one, or is it the one at McNary? Or
it's
further north. It's
right.
that one. It's
apologies.
The one... Yeah. All right, so this is in the very northern part of Murray County.
So we're going to be talking... Wow, it's another one of the small cells. So this is actually one of the ones we were looking at earlier.
Yeah.
Even earlier still.
This was the one that came through initially with Waynesboro and Homewall that had a really good structure with it.
That's right.
It looks like it's starting to ramp back up again, too. Got a little bit of a hell core here that's north of Santa Fe that's going to get towards the Theta area and probably just stay a little bit south of Bethel. Jameson, Nipolis, Spring Hill, and Thompson Station.
I've got times of arrival for you on links.
Yes, perfect.
Right here.
So this will, again, heading towards the northeast. There's really no big tornado threat right now, but there's a possible tornado that could develop with this. Give it a little bit of time, but I don't see anything that's screaming tornado right now. So Theta about 448, Jameson at 450, Annapolis around 452, Burwood 454, Spring Hill 456, Thompson Station 459, right around 5 o'clock. Lee's Corner, 504. Bethsaida, 507. Franklin, 509. And Paytonsville, 509. This is going the exact same path as that Supercell that did have a tornado warning on it earlier for Murray County and into parts of Williamson County. These are the type of supercells that, or the type of setup where you're just going to get supercell after supercell after supercell, and they're going to go generally around the same area. So I would imagine Jameson, Burwood, Spring Hill, and Thompson Station, this is not going to be the last storm that you're going to be seeing this evening. So again, this is that new severe thunderstorm warning for Murray County, parts of Davidson County, I believe is in there as well, along with, where'd it go? It's loading the history in the Weather Service chat.
And while you load that up, again, like Taylor said, that this storm is going pretty much in the same path of that last tornado warned storm or severe thunderstorm warning. That did have it was a tornado warning that came through the very northern portion of Murray County. So you folks, we gave you the all clear from that storm, but now again is time to be thinking of your tornado safety plan. This is a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible. We've been watching these rotating storms all afternoon. All it takes is a few minutes and the right storm to catch the right environment in order to produce a tornado. So that's why we are covering this for you folks again in northern Murray County. If you are in places like Jameson, Spring Hill, Neapolis, Santa Fe, it's right over you right now, and then crossing over by the Saturn Parkway close to Interstate 65. You folks should be in your safe place right now. Again, treat this as a tornado warning. It's a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. So again, we're looking at rotation. This is from the radar in Nashville, Tennessee. We're not looking at anything overly concerning, but we know based on the history of all of these storms that they've been at least rotating in the mid-levels. And like I mentioned, all it takes for the right storm to latch onto the right environment in order to produce a tornado this afternoon. That's just the environment that we're working with. So again, it's a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. So we're trying to communicate this on the safe side. So if you folks were just in your shelter, you just came out of the shelter, now's the time to go back in. Again, your tornado safe plan. Again, your lowest level of a building with as many walls in between you and the outside as possible on the lowest level of your building, whether it's your workplace, your home, wherever you may be at this time. Avoid driving. Again, this is going up towards Thompson Station and up towards the Franklin area, Leapers Fork, places like that, up 31 right there as you travel northward closer to Nashville. So again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, not really seeing anything overly concerning with rotation signatures, but we just know that the nature of these storms all afternoon, they've been at least rotating in the mid-levels. That's right, Kelly. Looking at the a little bit of analysis from the Weather Service in Nashville, and I can kind of show this. Let's do like a DMA view, and then kind of like reset it, and then zoom out a little bit and show the reflectivity.
So we've been talking about this effective warm front, and it's going to be where these storms, if they can latch onto it and they can spin up, produce possible tornadoes. And we've had some of those that have definitely tried. Some of them have gotten tornado warned, others have not. But there's a boundary that is right through here where these cells are located. And south of that boundary, it is very unstable and very warm. It is 85 in Huntsville with a dew point of 64. It is 87 in Muscle Shoals with a dew point of 65. It's 84 with a dew point of 70 in Iuka. You go north of that boundary, it's 64 with a dew point of 58 in Nashville at the airport there, 59 over 59 in the Centerville, Dixon area, and 64 with a dew point of 64 in Savannah. So it's kind of splitting Savannah right here. Where these storms develop along or south of that boundary, they're going to have the greatest potential of producing tornadoes as we head throughout the remainder of the day and evening. North of it, like this cell here that's getting into Parsons right now, that's behind the boundary. So it's an elevated storm, meaning the base of the storm is not rooted to the surface. It's having to get its instability from above the surface layer. And so that limits the severity of that storm. You can still get some hail, maybe some gusty winds with it, but you don't really get a tornado threat with storms that are north of that boundary. This one that's near Corinth, that one's going to have to be watched very closely, and then the one near Holly Springs will as well, and if there's any development that's further to the south. So again, these cells right here, the one that's warned here in Murray County north of Columbia is along that boundary. The one next to Hohenwald is along that boundary, and the one down here north of Corinth is along that boundary, and then the one near Holly Springs is as well. So that's that kind of zone that we're having to watch for more potential for storms to develop and have a tornado threat with it. Tornado, okay, I'm not sure about this. Let's zoom into that Murray County storm real quick. This is from a ham radio operator. Tornado spotted Carter's Creek Pike 3 miles south of Spring Hill by ham radio Skywarn spotter. So let's take a look at the velocity real quick. And also real quick, is that pronounced Santa Fe or Santa Fe?
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe. Okay, I apologize. I've been pronouncing it Santa Fe. So there is a report of a tornado spotted Carter's Creek Pike. Chase, see if you can find that on like Google Maps or something so I can kind of find out where it is. They say it's 3 miles south of Spring Hill. It's by ham radio operator. So that would be in this area right here. So I imagine that road, he said, is probably somewhere over here.
I believe that is that main road going
through. Is it this one right here?
Jameson, but it's kind of hard to say because there's not a clear.
See if we can zoom in enough to where we can see some street names.
Yeah, it's that.
That's this one right here.
It's that main road through Jameson.
Okay, so there's been at least a report of a tornado spotted in Carter's Creek Pike 3 miles south of Spring Hill. Jameson, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. Cleburne, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now as well.
Sorry to interrupt. We got a tornado warning coming for Alcorn and Tishomingo and Hardin. I just want to get ahead of that.
That's that Supercell, Mississippi.
Okay, we'll hold it here.
Yeah, hold it here
I'll zoom out
quick.
just a little bit. And so just reiterate, people need to be in their safe places in far northeastern Murray County. I will go ahead and get this next one queued up.
And I will run you on 2 here.
Yes, real quick. Again, there's no actual tornado warning yet, but there's a tornado report in the National Weather Service chat from a ham radio operator that says a tornado is on the ground, and they have issued, or excuse me, I'm in the Memphis chat, but there's a report potentially of a tornado on the ground here near the Jameson area, and that's going to move further north into that northern part of Murray County and get into the Thompson Station area. So Jameson, Spring Hill, Theta, Thompson Station, get in your tornado safe spot right now because there is a report from a ham radio operator of a possible tornado on the ground with this cell. Let's go back down to the southeast or southwest. That's that supercell that we were watching coming out of northern Mississippi that now has a tornado warning on it. This is a tornado warning that is for Alcorn, Tishomingo, and Hardin counties in Tennessee. Why is that not popping up on this one? I see her warning is popped up over there.
I'll go ahead and put you on 3 there.
Put me on 3, okay.
So there you go.
Yeah, so all right, so here's your tornado warning, and it will be interesting to see if the Weather Service of Huntsville might have to go with the tornado warning here for Lauderdale County. Like I mentioned, even though you're not under a watch, that doesn't mean you can't get a storm today. Just want to reiterate that. So again, this is going to move into southern Hardin County and very far northern Tishomingo County here. This is area rotation back here. Kelly has a storm track on here. Pine Flat 456 counts at 5 o'clock. Short at 503, Pyburn at 504, Bruton Branch at 507, Lauderdale Wildlife Management, that's the extreme northwestern part of Lauderdale County. This is north of Waterloo. This is right next to the Tennessee state line. Pollard's Mill at 512, Lowryville at 514, Walnut Grove at 515, Big Ivy at 518, Center Star at 519, Stout at 520, Ransom Stand 522, Murphy Crossroads 526, and the Lutz Community at 527. This is a tornado warning, not a severe thunderstorm warning, a actual tornado warning for this cell coming out of northern Mississippi, and it will probably clip parts of far northwestern Lauderdale County. If you live in Waterloo, again, it's a rural area here in Lauderdale County, but I would go ahead and take your tornado precautions, because this is not going to do a thing where just because you don't have a tornado warning here, the storm's not going to go there. The storm doesn't know where the warning polygons are located. This storm is going to move most likely very close to that far northwestern portion of Lauderdale County. So I'll go ahead and seek tornado precautions in Waterloo. If you're near the Lauderdale Wildlife Management area here in the far northwestern part of Lauderdale County, right close to where the Tennessee River is, where you get close to that Pickwick Dam, and you have Pickwick Lake. This is where it's going, right over that area. If we can go back, do we have it on links 2 now with the warning popped up? All right, that was weird how that was delayed. So let's take the storm track off. I want to go in here and take a look at the the velocity data, because it looks a little messy on reflectivity, but there is some rotation going on here. It's not extremely tight, but the thing that you have to understand with these storms today is they're rotating, and they can rotate very quickly and produce a tornado just like that, especially if they latch onto that boundary, because if you get onto that boundary, it increases the shear, and you end up having a much better chance of producing a tornado with it. Is that Murray County storm you're still seeing over there,
Yes, I'm keeping an eye on it. It's still moving north of Jameson at this time. This area of circulation right over the Theta community, just to the northwest of Spring Hill, Tennessee. We're still watching that. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm with a tornado possible tag. That area of rotation just about to move out of Murray County, which will be officially out of our viewing area. But let's go ahead and focus
There's
on
that Lauderdale one. I was going to say the Weather Service in Huntsville was going to issue one. So they have issued one now. So we'll see exactly how far east that polygon gets. I'm guessing they're probably going to go right through here, this kind of little sliver of Lauderdale County. So I imagine Waterloo could be in this warning as well. Again, we're not forgetting about you in Murray County. That cell, that's what I kind of thought, kind of that little sliver of Lauderdale County. That cell, the Weather Service in Nashville has not gone with a tornado warning with it, but they're asking any additional reports on that storm, and I don't know if that tornado report was if it was quick or not, I don't know, but we're still watching that. But the good news is in Murray County, it's starting to move out of that zone and getting into Williamson County, which is out of our viewing area. So our main focus is with this active tornado warning in our viewing area. This includes Tishomingo County, extreme far northwestern part of Lauderdale County, and the southeastern part of Hardin County here, is this supercell that has some rotation with it. That's GWX still. What does Memphis have? Because it looks messy on reflectivity, but
Hey Taylor, I just want to interrupt for a second. According to NWS Huntsville, that tornado warning is out as a confirmed tornado.
Really?
Yes.
We're a little high, so it's a little dubious to be able to suss out exacts.
They didn't say why it's confirmed, but NWS Huntsville said confirmed.
It said confirmed.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's a GWX.
There's
Memphis.
That's Memphis.
Yeah.
So again, there is some rotation here, and they went with confirmed. I'm not entirely sure the reasoning behind that. I'm looking at the Weather Service in Memphis because this is their spot. So if there's a confirmed tornado with this, it would be mentioned from their end.
It looks like the observed portion, or it was from ground observation, it seems to be.
Ground.
That's the tag. It was observed.
It was observed. Yeah. Okay, so there's a chance maybe it was like intermittent or something like that. But all right, so there at least has been at least a possible, if not an actual tornado that's still on the ground here near the Pine Flat community. Again, the warning in Mississippi says radar indicated, but the warning here in Lauderdale County is confirmed. So there
and
could
you
have
folks
been
in Lauderdale County, I just want to let you know that we are live streaming now on Q107 and Kix 96, so you can catch us on radio as well.
That's that Big River Broadcasting out there. So Kix 96, it has a huge signal, and it goes out through multiple counties. You can get as far east as Huntsville, and it definitely is here. You can get it here in northeastern Mississippi as well. So Kix 96, if you are in Waterloo, if you are in Lauderdale County, you're going to be able to hear our broadcast on those stations. What you got, Kelly?
And then I just want to give you a quick, again, from this specific storm that has just moved through Murray County, it is now completely out of Murray County aside from a leftover shower. So this storm, you folks are in the all clear. The tornado, or the severe thunderstorm warning, excuse me, does continue, but it will probably be shaved off soon. So from this specific storm, you folks in Murray County, you guys are all clear right now. Again, multiple storms going over multiple locations. Over and over again today, but from this specific storm, you guys are in the all clear for now.
All right, let's zoom in a little bit tighter here. So we'll probably get more information from Memphis because Jordan Hubbard over at WBBJ over in Jackson, Tennessee, commented that Huntsville went confirmed from a public report, and he wanted their thoughts on that. So I think we'll find out quickly what the deal with that is, but still would not be shocked if there is a tornado on the ground here. Pine Flat, Sandy Creek subdivision, that's just as you get into the southern Tennessee part of things. You have Mississippi Highway 25 that snakes its way on up to the state line. Then it becomes Tennessee Highway 128, and that bends its way back towards that Pickwick Lake area towards Holiday Hills and Caney Hollow. This is counts up here in southern Hardin County. You guys are in that tornado warning. The tornado potential is going to be south of you right now, and it's going to be moving up in this general area towards that Holiday Hills. This is that area of rotation right back here. If we have a tornado that is still on the ground here, and that confirmation is correct, then it's going to be rain wrapped because it's going to be back inside of the rain shield right here. Here's your inflow notch coming into this direction, your rear flank downdraft coming back on the back side. So if there is a tornado that's still on the ground here, right near the Sandy Creek subdivision, it's going to be wrapped in rain. You're not going to be able to see this by any means. So if you live in Caney Hollow, Holiday Hills, you're not going to be able to see this tornado coming. But just know that if it still is confirmed, it's back in this area and it's moving into your area. Again, for the Lauderdale County part of the warning, again, like Kelly mentioned, we're on Kix 96. We're on the radio there in Lauderdale County. This is a very small portion of Lauderdale County. If you're listening to me in Florence, if you're listening to me in Lexington, in the Rogersville area, in Anderson, and Cypress Hill, you're not in this tornado warning. This is up towards Waterloo, the very far northwestern part of Lauderdale County here. That is your issue for the Lauderdale County tornado warning. The good news is, if this moves into that part of the county, it's a very rural area. You still have people that live out there, but we're not talking about major cities or towns here in Lauderdale County. This cell chase is starting to look a little more impressive, so it might be that it's starting to ramp up and really get organized here. What's your thoughts on the radar presentation of this? We can toss over to you real quick.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of variable, up and down, up and down. These storms have liked their cycles, right? That's kind of one of the key words we've been using over the last really 24 hours, and this is we're kind of between radars right now. We're getting a little closer to our live radar in the coming minutes, but as of right now, we're still looking high up. But I do see that the storm as a whole is strengthening, right? We were talking about this, me and you, Taylor, earlier, that this storm didn't have much lightning. Now it's torrential
tons of lightning. Yeah. What's the lightning count on that, by the way?
We're in the 200, a quarter of 1,000, right? So this thing is definitely a very robust updraft. So I would tend to agree that the trend is not your friend if you don't want strong storms with this. This is definitely one of those more severe ones. And right now, yeah, we're seeing that kind of corridor here. Where we see that rotation, right? It's, it's kind of right there at the tri-state area right now, and let's see, looks like that is kind of a extension of the
and while we're at that, they've trimmed back the one for Alcorn, Mississippi. So I know that's out of our viewing area, but they're trimming that side back right there. You saw it trimmed back.
Yeah, so they're trimming that back. They're good. But and I'll tell you another key aspect about this updraft. Look at that, Taylor. More hail.
Yep, that's a good sign. That's strengthening.
It has been a month of hail here in the Tennessee Valley. We have seen well above average hail count. So this is yet another one of those on the Tennessee side, just south of Pyburn. Along Highway 57, you don't want to be driving out there right now. First of all, because there's a tornado warning in the east side of the county. Second of all, because you're probably getting some pretty good hail, probably up to $half size if I had to estimate, just from this radar presentation.
And from the hail perspective, we've been talking about this today, at least with these storms, not only can we give you a heads up for tornadoes, but we can give you a heads up for hail. So if you live in Big Ivy, if you live in Walnut Grove, if you live in Lutz, Center Star here in eastern Hardin County, you have time, if you have the ability to move your vehicle either under a carport or in a garage, you have some time to do that because, again, if you don't get a tornado, if you're on the northern side of that storm, you're getting the hail potential. And this is not just hail that it's just almost made the stand fall over. This is not just hail that just, the storm's dropping it. It's throwing it. Think of it that way. It's literally like a pitcher throwing a baseball down towards the surface. These hailstones are coming at you at 70, 80, 90 miles per hour potentially if the wind gets that strong. This is going to be wind-driven hail as opposed to just hail that's, just bouncing, just kind of, falling from the sky. This isn't that small hail. This is large hail that has damaging wind potential with it. So this is going to have more of an impact with that as opposed to some small hail potential. Getting that area of rotation, it's just now crossing the Tennessee River here, close to Pickwick Dam, and it literally looks like it's going with the tri-point of the states.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's going right there on the tri-point of Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee. There is still that area rotation here, and again, the Weather Service in Huntsville said that it was a confirmed tornado. I have not heard anything from the National Weather Service in Memphis did not respond to his comment asking why they went confirmed. So again, we'll just have to go with what we're being told here. So the Weather Service in Huntsville went with a confirmed tornado on this, so they obviously got a report of some sort that shows that there is a tornado on the ground here, and it still could be on the ground here, crossing the Tennessee River, moving into that very far northern part of Lauderdale County, towards that tri-point area where you have Lauderdale County, it meets up with Tishomingo County, and it meets up with Hardin County in Tennessee, where the state lines meet. That's exactly where this area of rotation is headed, and it will cross that river, the Tennessee River, and move into far southeastern Hardin County. So Walnut Grove, you're going to be up next as the more bigger community here, right along Tennessee Highway 69, as it moves in from Alabama. That's actually Alabama Highway 20 that changes over to Tennessee Highway 69 here in that southeastern part of Hardin County. Do we have we got to look at a camera?
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to pull up. We're kind of far away, but this is a pretty good camera, nice and high up. We're actually looking into the core area that we actually have a pretty good view. That you see that there. You can see the
back off real quick.
So we have a pretty good view into this from Cherokee. It would turn out. So we're looking north here from Cherokee, which is in northwestern Alabama, and we can see, we can't really make out a lot of details here, but we definitely see where that area of concern is. You can see the broader structure of that. Definitely looks like a mean supercell with those striations above. We're certainly looking into the mesocyclone.
So if I can actually see that it looks like the wall cloud will kind of be back in this area.
Yeah, the contrast is a little...
If you're looking, are you looking like due north or northwest?
Well, let me do a due north click so that we can kind of get a sense. So here's north, so we're looking northwest.
So that's north.
So I'll recalibrate here. So then I'm turning it left a little, and right there is our feature. So we're looking northwest from Cherokee here. So it would be.
What's this right here?
Yeah, I see that. It's definitely low. That much is for sure.
Yeah, like right in here.
Yeah, I see that as well. It's really hard to say about contact, height, LCLs, things like that, but that's definitely cause for concern. And just another point towards taking this very seriously.
Volunteer Fire Department in Glen, Mississippi is reporting damage just east of Glendale Church on Highway 72.
Okay,
so this is
so
causing
we have a history
damage.
of damage.
This history of damage, and that might be from a possible tornado because that's very close to where that signature went over. So that might be why the Weather Service in Huntsville had confirmed on it. Go to our UNA cam real quick.
UNA cam?
Go to your UNA cam.
I'm going to get that up on... Oh, I'll just do that on 2.
Do it on 2 real quick.
Sure thing. Here we go. It might have a frozen frame at the moment, but it might update if we're looking... I'm not sure which direction we're looking right now.
Yeah, see if you can...
I'll see if we can...
I just got a text from Sam saying to go with the UNA cam, so I'm not sure what he's...
I'll swing that around here.
Swing that around because that's not looking in the right spot.
Yeah. So from here, we'll probably want to swing that generally west, if not slightly northwest. So here's UNA. It's a little hazy, a little in the distance there. Maybe if I turn back this way. No, I think Cherokee's our best.
Cherokee's going to be the best one. Yeah.
So I'll swing us back to Cherokee so we can keep analyzing that because we definitely had, sort of that base in there. It's best to get eyes on here. Sorry, it's on the preset. Let me change that for you real quick.
Yeah.
But,
while you're doing that, so this was so the Volunteer Fire Department report of damage in Glen. This is east of County Road 218 on Highway 72 in eastern Alcorn County. So that's exactly where this area rotation went over. So there's a chance that there might have been a tornado that did touch down in Alcorn County. And then we're also getting other questions to Memphis. I hope they answer this because I'm really interested in why the Weather Service in Huntsville went confirmed, what report that was. There is a reply here, so let's see what it says. They were referencing the Alcorn stuff. So apparently, I guess Huntsville had some report somewhere of either a tornado on the ground in Alcorn County, which would make sense with that damage report. All right, this is where...
I'm going to keep an eye on that, by the way, just behind
Okay, good. We're still watching this area here. Again, this is now where that potential tornado will be, is just to the west of Walnut Grove. I can give an all clear to that part of Lauderdale County. So if you're listening to me on Kix 96, on any of the big river stations down there in the shoals, the all clear can be given now for Lauderdale County. Again, this was a very small portion of northwestern Lauderdale County. This was near the Waterloo area. This is close to Cypress Inn. This is the Lauderdale Wildlife Management. We're talking about the area that's very close to the Tennessee River. And as soon as I said that, the Weather Service in Huntsville canceled that tornado warning. So there is the official all clear from the Weather Service. So tornado warning is no longer in effect here for Lauderdale County. So if you're listening to me on Kix 96, you don't have a tornado warning in Lauderdale County now, but some other people could be listening in parts of southern Tennessee. If you're listening to me on the radio here in southeastern Hardin County, in southwestern Wayne County, this is heading into your general area. Here's a time of arrival, 5:10 for Walnut Grove, that is in Hardin County. Big Ivy in Hardin County, 5:13. Lutz, this is now in Wayne County. The Lutz community at 5:21. Martins Mills at 5:23. Cromwell Crossroads at 5:27. And the Collinwood, City of Collinwood at 5:34. So again, no tornado warning now for Lauderdale County, but for areas that are north of Lauderdale County, specifically southeastern Hardin County and southwestern Wayne County. Southwestern Wayne, you're not under a warning yet, but there's a chance you might be here soon. Southeastern Hardin County is under that tornado warning. So let's go back in here, Chase, and take a look at that velocity signature. And again, we're still watching other storms out there, but the one that had a warning on it for Murray County is out of Murray County now. It is out of our viewing area. I know a lot of you have commented on the post about why aren't you doing towards the Franklin area and everything like that. That's out of our viewing area. So even though we are watching the storms that move in that area, once it crosses that county line, if we have other warnings on the board in our viewing area, we have to go to them. We can't stay on that one as it crosses that Murray County line into Williamson, because that gets out of our viewing area, especially when we have tornado warnings down here in our viewing area. This is a better rotational signature here, Chase, that is near the Walnut Grove area. I know it's still a little bit messy, but you're getting a lot better inbounds and outbounds there right in this area.
And I do want to add that the Nashville's acknowledging the downstream, and they're going to actually go with a severe thunderstorm
with tour possible
warning, with a tour possible tag with this for Perry and Wayne. In fact, I just got it up there. Yeah, and that goes until 5:45.
Okay.
So, as a matter of fact, I'll zoom out here so that we can let that populate in here and kind of get a sense of where that is.
So they're going to probably go with a bigger warning here because of where the hail potential, potential is as well, and they might even catch this one too.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. They're probably just doing kind of a broad brush, just so that everyone knows, that there are storms being produced here. And of course, this will be probably much. Well, if it's in Perry County, probably all of Wayne County with a severe thunderstorm warning.
So again, this is there it is. There's a severe thunderstorm warning, and it clips Perry County. So that's why Perry County is involved here. So majority of this warning is in Wayne County, and that goes until 5:45. 5:45. So we've got about 40 minutes on this one. Again, tornado warning still in effect here for southeastern Hardin County. We're still watching Walnut Grove. You need to be in your safe spot right now. Beyond that, I'll go ahead and say this. Lutz, Martin Mills, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. If you live, let's sleep what's here south of Lutz, because you're so close to that tornado warning, and that cell's still looking pretty good.
Unfortunately, there's not really too much. Let me get you some of those.
What is that, Cromwell Crossroads?
Yeah, Cromwell Crossroads is over here east of Lutz. Fun fact, Lutz is the local pronunciation.
Lutz.
And they certainly know a thing or two about tornadoes because they got hit in 2015 by such a bad tornado.
So the Lutz community. So if you live in Martin, if you live in Lutz and Cromwell Crossroads, take your tornado precautions.
Yeah.
Stay there until I give you the all clear, because this is still a tornado warning storm in southeastern Hardin County. It's showing signs that it's trying to get a little bit better organized. There's a little bit better rotation with it. So just as the course of least regret, if you live in the Lutz community and Cromwell Crossroads, I would go ahead and seek your tornado safe spot right now. Collinwood, Martins Mill, Waynesboro, Clifton Junction, you do not, but I would recommend that you get indoors, you get away from windows, because if you don't have a tornado that ends up coming your direction, there's a better chance you're seeing some of that damaging wind and the hail, and that hail core is starting to get a little bit more impressive, Chase, right here on top of Big Ivy. So that's where you're starting to get that potential for maybe some $half size hail, potentially a little bit larger than quarter size. What does the velocity signature look on? It's
sort of up and down.
It's up and down. It looks like it's pulsing somewhat.
Yeah, I think you're kind of right about that. These cells have been doing that today. The general trend is up, though. I mean, you can tell just how broad the up. Look at these bolts from the blue out here. I mean, you're well outside
anvil
of the morning. These anvil shots are flying out of here, and we actually have the cell moving up on the Waynesboro cam. Not a lot of visibility right now.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
It's on 3 already. So we do have it here, and I'll tell you what, we've been talking about this very plains-like structures, right? You can see these from miles and miles away, and we definitely, this Waynesboro cam has been the golden child today, that's for sure.
Yep.
And we're looking back southwest into that now.
So we'll keep an eye on this. So that's that cell that has that tornado warning on it. Again, the Weather Service in Nashville has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Wayne County and a very small sliver of Perry County. Again, that's with this tornado warning storm, but they feel like that the rotation's still kind of iffy right now, that they rather go severe thunderstorm with a tornado possible than an actual tornado warning, which I think is the right call right now. But I would still, as a course of least regret, like I said, Lutz and Cromwell Crossroads, you're close enough to the storm right now that I think you just need to be in your tornado safe spot. For the remainder of the county, Waynesboro and points to the north, I think you're okay to just, you don't need to be in your tornado safe spot, but I would at least get away from windows, especially with that hail potential as well. From the Weather Service in Huntsville, real quick. So again, they canceled that tornado warning for Lauderdale County. They say we'll be keeping an eye on the clusters of storms from Alcorn to Benton County in Mississippi. The general storm motion continues to be northeast, and we suspect these will remain just northwest of our area. However, there's a very low chance that they clip Lauderdale County again. So again, this is that tornado warning. The Weather Service in Nashville has gone with a severe thunderstorm warning in front of it for the Lutz area, Cromwell Crossroads, Martins Mill, the northern part of Collinwood, and into Waynesboro as well. Again, it's this backside that we're still watching for that is still kind of coming and going with some rotation every now and then. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Kelly, what do you have the latest over there? Do you have any information?
I'm just, we have now double boxed with the Waynesboro camera looking into this cell as we're still watching this rotation. Again, this center of rotation that we are watching coming out of Hardin County and into Wayne County in Tennessee does have a history of producing damage back in Mississippi. So again, that's why we have now a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag, just because of the history of this storm. So again, those communities that we've already called out, if you're just joining us, the Lutz community, Cromwell Crossroads, you folks need to be in your tornado safe place. Again, that is the lowest level of the building, the most interior room, no windows, away from windows, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Again, we're still watching for any signs of rotation. We have not gotten yet any reports of any damage in Hardin County, but we are continuing to watch to see if we get any reports, any more ground truth. But for right now, we are trying to play it safe. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible for you folks in Wayne County, Tennessee. That center of rotation is about to cross the county line just south of Highway 203. Let me go ahead and pull up velocity.
It's 203 right here. There's your velocity signature right in there.
And so that center of rotation that we're watching is just to the east of Walnut Grove and east of Highway 69. And that is continuing to move northeastward. We're continuing to watch it very closely. Again, nothing just jumping out at us at this time, and we have that sky cam ready to go. We're looking at it behind the scenes. If we are able to see anything, of course, we will alert you and pop that thing up when we need to.
Let's go ahead and do a reset, because we're noticing development in northwestern Alabama. So let's do a reset, and it's this stuff right here. And I just want to stress, we talk about that boundary. That boundary is going to be the main focal point for severe weather and that tornado potential today. That's what these storms are riding along. Every now and then they'll pop off of it. Sometimes they'll pop back on. The boundary is not going to stay in one spot. The boundary will fluctuate throughout the day. You'll get a push where it surges to the north. You'll get a push where it surges to the south. So these storms will ride that boundary, and they can pop on and off every now and then. If they pop off, they'll lose their low-level rotation because they end up becoming elevated, and they pop back on it. They gain that low-level rotation again, and you have a tornado potential with that. So again, we're still watching that cell that's now moving into parts of Wayne County, but we're also watching development here that's south of Russellville. There's no lightning on it yet, but the updrafts are starting to get a little bit more intense down here. We're getting a little bit better values on reflectivity. We're also watching storms off to the west. And the other thing that we have to mention, you notice most of the polygons on here, they're colored green. Those are your flash flood warnings. Flash flooding is a major concern today, especially with how these storms are going over and over the same areas, and they're dumping a lot of rainfall and some hail potential as well. So flash flooding is a major concern today where these storms train. The bulk of that main flash flood risk is going to be in this area right here, from Columbia down towards the Summertown area, down towards Waynesboro, Savannah, and back down to the south. That's where the bulk of these storms are going to keep coming over the same general area. Let's go into this storm right down here. I say storm, it's more of a shower, Kelly. That south of Russellville, I want to just see how that looks, because that is well south of the boundary. It's got a lot of moist air to work with, a lot of instability. What's the velocity look like? I know it's probably going to be a little bit messy, but you're getting a little bit of some wind gust in here, so the cells are strengthening. The thing you want to watch for is, if you go back to reflectivity real quick, Kelly, the thing we'll watch for is what becomes the dominant cell. Is it this one up here? Is it this one over here? It's probably going to end up being this one right here, right on top of Pig Eye and south of the Hodges community here in the Marion County and Franklin County lines. This is just to the west of Hackleburg. So again, we're getting new development here well south of the boundary. So these are going to end up being surface-based, and they could become severe later on. There's model guidance that have shown that we could get that cellular development down to the south. All right, we're going back into this storm here. This storm is now going into Wayne County from Hardin County. So the tornado warning here for southeastern Hardin County for the Big Ivy community, Center Star, Walnut Grove, We can almost give you the all clear here, give it about another 5 minutes, and then we can clear you out from that tornado warning. And our focus will end up being here in southwestern Wayne County. How's that Waynesboro camera looking? Are we getting a little bit better view on it? I've been kind of going back and forth between looking at it and looking at the radar here.
I'll throw you up there. That's
so there's
right into the bottom of it.
Yeah, there's your lowering base right here. Almost every single storm that we've had today has had a wall cloud. And just like I mentioned, just because you have a wall cloud doesn't mean you get a tornado. It's not like wall cloud, boom, automatic tornado. A wall cloud is just a lowering. What's that, Chase?
I was just going to kind of add to what you were saying. I would suggest this is probably the lowest wall cloud we've seen today. Kind of gives that each one has been progressively a little lower.
Yep.
And that kind of increases the tornado chances a little bit more each time. And I would definitely... I would suggest that this is probably the lowest one we've seen today.
And I'm looking at Ben Luna's watching us and continuing to send us some updates. I'm watching this video of the rotation as it crossed Highway 72, and that's in Tennessee. But
in Tennessee or Mississippi? It said Highway 72.
He said Highway 72.
So that was probably in the
state highway.
Tishomingo County.
Tishomingo one, okay.
Okay, so Highway 72 in Tishomingo County, Mississippi. So again, this was a little bit ago, but like Chase said, this does look to be one of the lowest wall clouds that we've had so far. So we're keeping a very close eye on it.
And I also do want to add, we do have it on our live radar. So if you have there's another additional source for you.
Yeah. So yeah, going back real quick with the bases, the thing that we're going to have to really watch is as we get the storms, as they keep going over the same area, they'll cool the air off. It doesn't really suck the entirety of the instability out, but what it does is it lowers the temperature and your cloud bases start to get lower to the ground because you're starting to decrease. When you go from the surface up, you'll start to decrease your moisture and temperature, or say your moisture, you decrease your temperature to where then it hits the moisture, your dew point, and then you get condensation. So if you lower your temperature, you lower that amount of distance you have between your saturated and your not saturated. So you're lowering those cloud bases, and it's easier for those low-level rotations to end up, if they are strong enough, they can produce a tornado very quickly. So there is that little bit of area rotation here near the Lutz area. This is south of Martin's Mill. We're still watching it. It's not overly strong. It's pretty broad, but the fact that we have lower cloud bases, like I mentioned, they can get a little bit easier to produce some tornadoes if you get the right ingredients and the right shear in place. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on this. The other thing is the Alcorn Sheriff's Office is reporting several trees and power lines down on County Road 248 in the eastern part of the county. So this, I think, did produce that tornado. So the Weather Service in Huntsville, they didn't explain why they went observed, but I imagine it's because they had those reports that there was a tornado on the ground in Alcorn County, Mississippi. So this storm, this supercell, did produce damage. And the thing that's noticing to me is I don't know if it's trying to recycle, or maybe it's gotten north of the boundary, but it's losing its definition. It's losing its supercellular characteristics, at least on the radar perspective.
And Taylor, I'm going to say Ben Luna just let me know that we do have a chaser on this cell. They are west of Collinwood, and they have just spotted a lowering and a rotating wall cloud with a possible funnel.
Okay.
So while, yes, it does look a little bit funky on radar right now, with somebody actually putting eyes on this storm a little bit closer than what we have in our view of our sky cam, which we're watching that very closely as well. But we're going to be watching this, and I just wanted to communicate that again, with this severe thunderstorm warning, tagged tornado possible, again, we want you to treat this as a tornado warning and to be in your safe place.
Let's go to our live radar. Does that have a good view on it, Chase?
Has a better view, I would
Has
say.
a better view on it. So there's that back end appendage. So again, sometimes this is a little bit of a radar hole. You're getting too far out for Memphis. You're getting too far out for Columbus. You're getting too far out for Nashville and even Huntsville as well. So this is why we have our Doppler radar here in Lawrence County, is because we're filling that radar hole here, and this does have a little bit better look on it because we're having a closer scan. Is the velocity showing kind of the same thing? It's that's probably one of the, outside of the one that moved through what was it, Perry and Hickman counties earlier, this is probably the better one that we've had, Chase. We actually have a little bit better inbounds.
I would definitely agree with that. You definitely are looking much lower.
Yeah.
In this, we're looking at better part of 400 feet out there as opposed to 7,000 feet. So
yeah.
We're definitely looking. It looks like it's right south of Lutz right now. That main feature.
Yep, right along Highway 203. All right. We've gone pretty good with this storm, so let's back things out and kind of give a reset view, then we'll kind of go back into some things because, again, we're still watching other storms out there. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning for our area right now. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning off to our north that includes Perry County, and I believe that's part of, what's the county north of Hohenwald? Is that's Hickman right there? Hickman counties. And the Weather Service in Nashville is saying there's a little bit better rotation with this one. So, again, that's out of our viewing area, but that is something that we'll just, keep an eye on. Again, we're also watching that severe storm here in Wayne County. What does GWX show? Because that's going to show the development back off to the southwest as well. So, again, we're still watching these cells that are going up here in parts of Franklin County. They are not severe, but they're in a really good environment down there. There's a lot of moisture, there's a lot of instability, there's some wind shear involved. Their next storm in line that we'll have to watch for is this one that is getting out of the Ripley area that will eventually move into the Corinth, Mississippi area here shortly. So there's supercell number 1. This would end up being supercell number 2, and we'll have to watch and see where that goes. Is there anything beyond that, Kelly? Is there anything like further back in Mississippi? There's really nothing. So, but there's going to be more. There's going to be more storms, at least from what the model guidance is showing, that should start to move in from Arkansas. You might have to go to the Memphis next rad. Actually, GWX might be a little too far away. So kind of pan or kind of back. Yeah, it's going to be this stuff back here. So. And eventually that might track into our areas later on tonight. So at least in the near term, we're going to have to watch this little cluster here in Franklin County. We're going to keep an eye on these supercells right here. And we're also going to keep an eye on this supercell that's here in northern Mississippi. So let's quickly go back in to that cell that is in Wayne County. The good thing is that this is not a tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. That's a tornado warning now.
Lawrence, Lewis, and Wayne till 6 o'clock.
As soon as I said that. So tornado warning here now for Wayne County, Lawrence County, and Lewis County. This includes Waynesboro, and I imagine this includes Deerfield here on the southwestern side of Lawrence County. And this will move into this general area here. So Deerfield, Summertown, I imagine Etheridge, you might be close by as well. I'm not sure how they're drawing the polygon here. We'll get it on here shortly. So again, now there's a tornado warning for Wayne County, for Lawrence County, and for Lewis County, and that goes until 6 o'clock. So that's in about 40, almost 30 minutes now. So yeah, here's your tornado warning polygon. It does clip the far northwestern part of Lawrenceburg. So if you live on the northwestern part of the city of Lawrenceburg, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. You need to take your tornado precautions in Ovila, in Center, in Deerfield, in Napier, in Pea Ridge, Waynesboro, Collinwood. You also, Lutz, you're still in that polygon, but the best chance of a tornado is now off to the northeast of you. Martins Mills, same thing. So give it about 5 minutes, and we'll give you the all clear. But
and I want to add.
Go ahead.
I've got you double boxed there, and I want to add that the structure is really starting to ramp up a little. You notice the more vertical nature of the wall cloud. So we're starting to see that updraft kind of consolidate. So we really need to watch for things sticking out of that. And I have that double box up here. I'm also controlling it. I'm also going to swing back our Lawrenceburg cameras west so that we can see that in due time as that moves in. But that wall cloud's definitely looking impressive. You can see that really sharp gradient there. Matter of fact, I'm going to send you full here.
Go full. I think I'm seeing what you're seeing too.
I'm gonna send you
right here.
Yeah, right there at the front. It looks
right
like it's
here.
really wanting to do something there. So.
Zoom in tight on that. We might have a developing tornado here on our Waynesboro camera. So if you're in Waynesboro, yes, that is a developing tornado right here. I can see the movement involved with this. This is a developing tornado. We'll see if it actually produces here very shortly. If you're in Waynesboro, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. This is still a little bit further off to your southwest, but this is coming right up the pipe towards you. You see a lot of motion going on here with this wall cloud, and this is the lowest part of it. So this is where you would end up having that potential tornado to develop here. So again, this is that new tornado warning for Wayne County. We're watching it from our Wayne County storm, and there could be, it looks like there's like hints of a funnel or two that starts to try to get going. You're getting this little piece right here that's getting a little bit lower as well. This whole thing is rotating, so it's tough to tell exactly where a tornado would drop from it, but it could drop from any point from this wall cloud here. Again, this is southwest of Waynesboro. As we're looking on our Arctic Air Skycam network here, this is a rotating wall cloud, and it's actually rotating pretty well, Chase. This is probably our best rotating wall cloud that we've seen today on our Skycams.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And we also have it on the radar still. And now I want to add on the Skycam that we're getting into the forward flank, so we're about to
insert it.
So from there, I'm going to go ahead and flip our cameras in Lawrenceburg West. But
okay.
I think we're about. We'll stick with this as long as we can. Matter of fact, I'll
stick with this. Yeah, double box me real quick because I still need to call out. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in here to the to the part of the storm that has that wall cloud and tornado potential. I think this ends up going a little bit south of Waynesboro, but Waynesboro, as the courts of least regret, you're in the tornado warning. You need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. Collinwood, you're more in the crosshairs here. Yeah, so this is the Natchez Trace Parkway right here. McGlamory Stand, just to the south of Collinwood, Cromwell Crossroads. You need to be in your safe spot right now. That wall cloud and possible tornado is on top of you right now. You need to be in your tornado shelter. Collinwood, you need to be in your tornado shelter as well. This wall cloud and possible tornado is right along Tennessee Highway 203 that runs from McGlamory Stand in the Collinwood area off to the west towards Cromwell Crossroads. This is where that potential tornado is developing right now. We're still watching the Skycam that we see off to my right here with the Waynesboro Skycam. We're going to be keeping a close eye on that. I don't really see that signature like what we did earlier.
Yeah,
sometimes
we're
these storms.
Underneath the shelf. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
We're getting underneath that forward flank shelf cloud, so
okay.
We're starting to really lose it. And right now, I'm turning our Lawrenceburg camera on the tower in the north side of town back southwest. We can see into the base of it. Matter of fact, I'll switch you here in just a second when I get things oriented.
Sometimes these cells have been cyclic today, so they'll cycle. They'll get strong, they can produce a tornado potentially, then they kind of back off a little bit, recycle, and they could do it over again. So that's something we're watching for.
On Lawrenceburg North, and we can really see here, and matter of fact, I'll take you full on.
Yeah, let's take a look at this one.
You can really see just how really low that base is there inside that wall cloud.
Yep. You're also getting something back here, so that could be another updraft that's trying to get going on this left side of the screen there. Yes, but our main concern is going to be this area right in here. That's where the lowest part of the wall cloud is. This is where your updraft is located. Your updraft goes up and it curves back into the upper part of the storm. So if you're going to get your tornado, it's going to be right here in that part of the updraft. We're still watching that kind of left side, but that looks like it's either just some scud or it could be another developing.
You know what I think that is? I think that might be the RFD kind of cutting in through the back.
Oh, is it coming in on the back side right there?
I think that's going to be the RFD cut there in the back. And
so that would definitely mean that your spot's going to end up being right here for that tornado potential. Is going to be right here.
The great Ben Luna's just joined us too, so we are.
So again, this is on that back side with that Waynesboro storm. And again, like Chase said, this is that back RFD push. So that's where you end up having the tornado potential with that wind pushing on the back side of things, wraps back around, and you end up getting your tornado potential back in here. Let's go ahead and go back to the radar because we really can't see anything with that. This hook is getting a lot more impressive from our live Doppler radar here in Lawrence County. So Collinwood, again, I emphasize you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. That's the lowest portion of your home, away from windows. Get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Obviously, if you have a tornado shelter out back in your backyard or somewhere nearby, you need to go to that right now. Again, this is that tornado warning storm, that hook that's on the back side of this. That velocity is getting a little bit better here, so it's possible that storm's starting to cycle just a little bit more. This is going to move. Go ahead.
I was just going to add, kind of to reaffirm your points. Me and you were talking about this behind the scenes. These tornado
on the ground in Wayne County. That's from Bill Phillips with Lawrence County EMA. So we have a confirmation of a tornado on the ground
Let's see if we can
in
see
Wayne
anything
County.
here, just to be safe.
I think that's it right
you
here if
might
we're going
be
to
right
see
there.
it. Go ahead. Hey, if we can zoom in, I think that's going to be it right here.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think that might be our tornado.
Train spotter reported viewing tornado on the ground. Sorry, Chase. Spotter located
no,
on
it's all right.
Piney
This
Road.
definitely takes precedent. Yeah.
Piney Road and Western in Western Lawrence County. So that's going to be this spot, I believe, back here. I don't know if it's still on the ground. This could be an intermittent funnel that starts to produce a tornado on the ground. It kind of comes back up a little bit. It's kind of hard to see, but it's going to be back in this area where you have that potential for that tornado.
You
okay.
Just a little bit, because I think it might have been off just a smidge. I apologize. There it is, straight into it. Yep.
So which is that it right here? Or is it down over
no,
here?
It's going to be on the right there.
It's going to be over here.
Yep. I'm going, and
yeah, so
we're right there.
Yep. Look at that base. You can really see.
Look at that base right in there. So your tornado on the ground potentially is going to be right in this area right here. It's a little tough to tell because we're so far away in our Lawrenceburg camera, but there is enough contrast here that you can see where there could be a possible funnel right here with that tornado on the ground. Again, this is from Bill Phillips with the EMA in Lawrence County. Tornado on the ground reported in Wayne County. Train spotter viewing tornado on the ground near Piney Road in Western Lawrence County, or excuse me, in Wayne County, Piney Road south of Natchez Trace. So again, this is a confirmed tornado on the ground here. So you need to take this seriously. Lawrenceburg, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. It's going to take some time before this storm gets to you, but you are in the tornado warning polygon and you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. This is really starting to ramp up here on our live Doppler radar here in Lawrence County. This tornado is going to be right on the northwest side of Collinwood. The report was on Piney Road in Western Wayne County. He said Lawrence County, but he meant Wayne County, and he corrected it. South of the Natchez Trace Parkway. So that's going to be right here.
That feature there was what I was actually going to talk about a second
ago.
Go
ahead, yeah.
Just how these absorb those mergers and strengthen. So that's kind of what it was doing here.
That might be a debris ball.
I checked that, and if it's not now, it is soon, but it doesn't have CC yet. It's sort of kind of iffy there, but
what's the velocity?
It's right exactly where you want it. So that's
right where you want it.
We should be looking.
Drew thinks he's got it on the Waynesboro camera.
All right, let's flip over to Waynesboro.
All right, I'll just do it on the toggle here. Let's see. So we would be looking southeast, right?
Yeah.
Let me back away.
All right.
Let's see. We'll be looking back into this. So we're scanning the skies here, the base of it.
It's getting lower to the left.
Yeah. It's kind of difficult to say, especially because you're in the forward flank of it. But
do you have a direction on that where that's pointed?
This is looking southeast.
It's looking southeast.
Yes. I
don't think it's southeast of Wayne's. Well, is it?
I think we would struggle to see it from the back edge because.
What's that? Keep going left. It keeps. That's what I'm saying. The cloud base keeps getting lower off to the left. No, other way.
Hang on. We've got.
Are multiple people on there?
Yeah. He's going back. There he goes.
I think this is going to be the back edge of the forward flank.
That's just your back
edge.
edge?
I do not think this is going to be the base of it in the updraft.
Okay.
So to speak. However, that is a good angle to see kind of behind it how the conditions evolve there. But,
okay. So if that's not the spot, then yeah, it looked like the cloud base kept getting lower. That if there was something on the ground, it was actually going to be over there.
Okay, you are looking southeast on that shot.
So this is back in Lawrenceburg. So again, this is back in that area. Again, I want to emphasize, if you're in Collinwood, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. I've mentioned that for the past 5 to 10 minutes. You need to be there right now. There's a tornado on the ground that could easily still, I say on the ground, it could easily still be on the ground, but there's a report of one on the ground about 5 minutes ago. So you need to take this warning very seriously. This is a live look on our Arctic Air Skycam network from Lawrenceburg, looking back into that storm. We've noticed some areas of rotation every now and then and some lowerings. So again, if the tornado is not on the ground right now, it could easily be back on the ground here very shortly. Here's a live look at our X-band Doppler radar here. If it's just now getting on the northwestern side of Collinwood, if we want to zoom in tighter, let's get some street level viewing here. This is the Natchez Trace Parkway, and running parallel with it is Tennessee Highway 13. This is Chalk Creek Road, Waterfall Creek Road. This is the one that runs from Tennessee Highway 13 back off to the west. That's where this tornado is headed. This is on the northern part of Collinwood as it crosses Tennessee Highway 13. There's a little bit of, that one's up here. What you got?
All right, hey, take a look at that real quick.
Right here?
Hang on. All right,
That's going to be in your spot right here.
All right, so here's your CC on it.
It's a little out ahead in the inflow.
It's a little out ahead,
okay.
so you're getting
that's
noise.
Definitely where your wall cloud will be, though.
Yes, you're getting noise on this side, so
Yeah.
that's the inflow coming into the storm. Any CC drop will be back in here. So it looks like maybe it's ending up being north of Collinwood here. So instead of it being in Collinwood, maybe it's on the northern side here, right as you start to kind of split the Natchez Trace Parkway and Tennessee Highway 13 right here. You got Natchez Trace that goes off to the northeast, and 13 goes off to the northwest. That's in that little split zone right here. So that's where that velocity data is suggesting that possible tornado. So it looks like it might be just north of Collinwood, but still in Collinwood, I would take your tornado precautions still right now. Your next in line potentially is Deerfield. Pea Ridge, we're still watching you. You're in the polygon, but I think you're going to be too far south for this supercell. And even Lawrenceburg. I think Lawrenceburg, you're still in that tornado warning polygon, as you see there, but you notice that the cell is moving generally in this direction, so it should miss you to the northwest. But still, I would maintain your tornado shelter in Lawrenceburg just a little longer before we can give you an all clear, because these storms can easily shift further to the south, especially if it starts riding that boundary more. Sometimes it can ride the boundary and start turning it a little bit further to the east as opposed to going northeast. Here's your latest update on the time of arrival. Highland at 5:52, Ovila at 5:52, Pea Ridge at 5:56, Deerfield at 5:57, Center at 6 o'clock, Henryville at 6:05, Lawrenceburg, if it goes that far east, also at 6:05, Etheridge at 6:08, Gum Springs at 6:08, and New Prospect at 6:10. Again, that is if it goes that far to the east for the New Prospect area. Again, this is a possible tornado. We've had confirmed reports that there have been tornadoes on the ground here, and it's possible that it's still in process.
And I'll tell you, since we've been using that, this is probably one of the more
robust,
classically defined cells.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that hook is starting to come around a little bit more. Notice you can kind of see it protruding out on the south side there, just north of Collinwood.
So the Weather Service in Nashville is saying that from OHX are seeing intermittent or persistent lowered CC values. So they might be seeing debris from OHX in some form or fashion.
All right, here's OHX. And
There's
let me back it up.
Well,
yeah, right
there
here.
it is.
So there's your tornado right
there.
here. So we did have a tornado on the ground. We had it confirmed, but there's your CC values right here with that confirmed tornado. So this is on the north side of Collinwood. If it's still on the ground here, it's getting close to that split. Like I mentioned, Tennessee Highway 13 runs along the Natchez Trace Parkway right there near Collinwood, and north of the town, it splits off. The Natchez Trace goes to the east, 13 goes to the west. It's right there along that split, and this is going to end up following the Natchez Trace Parkway almost parallel with it or on top of it, all the way as it gets close to the little town of Ovila here on the western side of Lawrence County. So again, Ovila, Deerfield Center, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. There's still a chance that we have this tornado that is on the ground here, live on our radar here from Lawrence County. We've had confirmed reports and spotted reports of a confirmed tornado on the ground here, and it could easily still be on the ground. How are the sky cams looking? Are we able to see anything else from that, guys?
It's kind of rain rep now. I'll throw you up on 3 there just so you can.
I noticed that the hail core is getting a little bit stronger with that too, so the updraft's getting strong.
Yeah, here we're looking right back into it. I'll kind of pan around a little bit for you, and as a matter of fact, I'll zoom out just a touch so we can kind of see the broader structure. So there's your inflow, your broader mesocyclone. And then to the left here, you're going to want to be looking back in there exactly for the tornado. But it's really hard to see right now with this kind of haze at the distance. But as of right now, our radar definitely has the premier view of it, if you will. In fact, I'm gonna switch you back to 2. We're keeping a very close eye.
And this is why we have a radar right here. It's in that radar hole where all the next rads cannot see the low levels here. I'm actually kind of shocked that the radar up in Nashville caught a debris signature this far away. That actually tells me that there could have been a very quick touchdown of maybe a strong tornado.
I think you're looking at the genesis of a potential greater touchdown on this thing.
You could.
Looking at how the
hook is coming around.
Yeah.
And the environment ahead of it, again, like I mentioned, the fact that we've had multiple storms come through this area, it ends up kind of actually enhancing the tornado potential down the road for the next storm because it lowers the cloud bases and it puts out a boundary itself, and that can be ingested into the storm. It has better shear with it, and you end up having some better tornado potential as well. And that hook is really starting to ramp back around on here. So again, this is following the Natchez Trace Parkway. This is a very rural area of eastern Wayne County here. There's still people that live out here, but there's not a lot of big communities. It's not until you get into Lawrence County here where you have the community of Avila, Deerfield, where you start having some more populated areas, but still you're watching this move from the Natchez Trace Parkway. Granny Scott Hollow, it should stay generally just south of you, but it's too close to call, along with Murphy Hollow here in eastern Wayne County. You need to be in your tornado safe spot. Granny Scott Hollow, that area is seeing some hail right now, probably upwards of quarter size, potentially on the highest end of the hail spectrum here, at least for this storm. That's moving into Murphy Hollow, but it's this backside hook that you see right here where we're getting potentially either there's still a tornado on the ground, or we're going to end up getting a new tornado that starts developing on the ground as well. What you guys got over there?
We're just taking a look at the camera to see what kind of structure.
Kelly kind of moved quickly over there. I thought she saw something.
Yeah, she certainly has good reason to, looking at the lowering of the base here. And we're looking kind of right at the interface of the inflow, and the tornado would be on the left. They're kind of wrapped a little bit in rain. We kind of see that precipitation wrapping in the hook, but we're looking right into it, and it's only going to get closer to this camera. So if we see anything, and I do want to add again, we mentioned this earlier, but those conditions are out of date. So they're actually much more favorable conditions.
This is not right. This is ignore those.
Real quick, I want to interject with something because the city is not in the polygon. Tornado sirens in Lawrenceburg have not sounded. It's also not extending to Etheridge yet.
Okay.
The poly, so those sirens have not sounded. And so if you were watching us in downrange and you're on especially the northwest side of Lawrenceburg and north of town, Etheridge back out toward the center area, Henryville, Red Hill, all of those communities, Deerfield, those are the kind of the classic hot spots where we see these things run, and this is probably going to run that same gambit. And so as a course of least regret, head to your safe place right now.
Let me go to the Storm Protection Center website. Apparently they have did they have a mesoscale discussion? No, they didn't. I thought someone said that they had an MD out for enhanced tornado potential, but I don't see that. But again, we're still watching this supercell. Tornado warning still active, like Ben mentioned. The city of Lawrenceburg itself is not in the polygon. Etheridge is not in the polygon, so that's why the sirens aren't going off in those areas right now. But Avila, Deerfield, Center, Pea Ridge, you're still on the southern side of things. I would still stay in your tornado safe spot just a little longer. This could end up shifting a little bit further to the right, but right now it looks like it's still tracking to the northeast. So your next time of arrival for Deerfield and Avila will probably be here in the next 15 minutes or so. What's up, Ben?
Real quick, I do want to stand corrected. The Lawrence County EMA overrode the poly settings.
Okay.
And so they are sounding the sirens now for both Lawrenceburg and Etheridge.
So they're doing it manually?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's good. So again, that's still a heads up, because technically the northwestern side of Lawrenceburg is in the polygon, and Etheridge is not, but still this cell is going to eventually move further east of this polygon. So eventually, if this storm holds together, Alexander Springs, Etheridge, Henryville, maybe even up towards the Summertown area on the northern side of Lawrence County, you guys will be under the gun here soon if this storm continues to stay very strong, and we're still seeing that. What's the velocity data on that? Is it still showing a pretty good velocity couplet? It is, very much so. Actually, yes. That could be a tornado vortex signature right here.
Where?
That bright spot right north of that the highway sign. Right here. Sometimes that could end up being your tornado. If you go back to reflectivity, I'll put my hand right there. That's in that spot. So that might be where your tornado is located. So this could be confirmation again that there could be another tornado on the ground. And there's a little bit, I don't know if it's kind of in a dead spot, but there's a little bit of a CC drop right there, very close to where that signature is.
Go back and put a finger on that.
Right here is where the CC drop could
and
be.
There's
your hole. So that could be just because there's a hole, but then where's the velocity at? That could be the tornado.
I think that matches.
There could be a tornado right there.
Oh.
That's RFD.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just doing some analysis behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes? Okay. You concur with that? That looks like it's in a good spot.
Go to your the Natchez trace point. Yeah, right there.
Right here.
Click reflectivity.
Go south.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
And that's, yeah, so right. It's a little noisy. You got to know the quirks of these things, but we're definitely, and we're looking really low too. In fact, on our camera, I'm going to put you up here real quick because we're starting to see into it a little bit better.
Starting to get a little better resolution with it,
or better to see into the lowering.
Contrast. Yeah, there is the base of the lowering right there. There's your little extended of a wall cloud, right there.
Yeah, kind of right in this region is
so
where.
So if you can zoom in, this is where it's going to be.
Yep.
Right in here.
I would agree with that.
That's your lowest point of the base. There's your wall cloud. So we're going to be able to see very clearly here if there's anything on the ground. And there is a little bit of maybe a funnel or two.
And now you're seeing lightning.
Now you're seeing lightning. So it could be, we'll keep this up right now. So again, we could have another developing tornado here on our sky cam. Yeah, that's moving right here. That has rotation with it right here. Yeah. So there's a chance, again, just because you don't have a condensation funnel all the way down to the ground, a tornado is not all condensation. It's not a cloud. It's a rotating column of air. It only becomes condensed when that column saturates. So you can't have a tornado down here on the ground doing damage without having an actual visible funnel all the way down to the ground. So that's something that we're watching here. There's a lot of movement right here in the sky cam. That's your lowest part of the wall cloud. So if there is going to be a tornado captured here on our Arctic Air Skycam network, it's going to be in this spot right here.
And you get a lot of upward motion in there too, so that definitely shows you're at your.
There's your updraft going up into it.
Now I will comment that the cell as a whole still a dangerous cell.
Yes.
But it's starting to backbuild with some more rain in the back and maybe even hail, so it's becoming a little more rain wrapped.
Almost get like maybe another updraft going on the back side of the hook right there.
I've been looking at the look behind the loop of the data behind the scenes, and we're getting these updrafts behind it, and it's really kind of making it a little harder to see.
Let's zoom out real quick and just give a little broad perspective. Again, this is the only warning that we have in our viewing area right now. Again, this is the tornado warning for Lawrence, Lewis, and Wayne. I know Lewis is in the warning, but this is probably going to end up being more of a Lawrence County than a Lewis County storm. So again, we're watching this area. We're still watching our sky cams to see if there's any visual confirmation. We did have confirmation of a tornado on the ground earlier with this supercell. So this has produced a tornado in the past. So that means that this means business. This isn't just a storm that, oh, there's a tornado warning on it, but a tornado doesn't happen. No, a tornado has happened with this storm, and it could still be happening, or it could happen again at any given moment here. So if you live in Ovila, I've mentioned you so many times here, Deerfield and Center, you need to be in your tornado precautions, your tornado safe spot right now. That means the lowest level of your home, away from windows, get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You can easily ride out these type of tornadoes inside your home. I don't think we're looking at a violent tornado with this, but a tornado nonetheless. So if you don't have a outside tornado shelter, an underground tornado shelter, you should be just fine staying inside your home. Just again, get to your lowest point, away from windows, closet, bathroom. Again, don't get into a room that's immediately right next to an exterior wall. Go on the interior part of your house, and you should be able to ride this out with no problem. Again, we're still watching this backside.
And
that's in the, is that, so the circulation should be right here, so that's not.
The hook is kind of pushing out now, you see, just right where you were pointing.
Yeah, well, I was saying that, that had a DBZ uptick, so I was curious if that was actually debris, but I would think the circulation is back over here.
Yeah, I've been keeping a very close eye on that. I actually get the latest scans very quickly back here behind the scenes as I control it. So if I saw something suspicious, I'd be right on it.
You'd be right on it,
and
that's
I
right.
actually do see a little something suspicious, how this is rotating out again.
Yeah,
right? We're
it's starting to expand a little bit.
Another cycle there, and looking back here real quick, we still got that nice view on our sky cam, but nothing extremely suspicious just yet. Any more suspicious than a tornado-warned cell, anyways is. But here comes a new scan. Let's see what we got there.
Let's go. Hey, let's go to the north real quick. Is that a tornado warning for?
Where would that be? This goes into.
Go north of Lewis.
That's up there in Hickman County.
Okay, so this will, just real quick, this will stay, all right, this will stay north of Murray County.
And this would be the most, I mean, if it does happen, that would be very, very tiny.
All right,
we'll circle back to that if that does.
Yeah, if it's not there yet, I just noticed on our bug over there, the little alert screen, that there's a warning up there too. All right, let's get in tight because now it's getting into Lawrence County. Let's get some street names here. So if you live, the circulation is right along Canaan Road here in Wayne County. So now we're getting to Lawrence County. So this is North Chisholm Road and Creek Road that runs all the way down like this. That's going to be where that tornado would be tracking. This is Patch Road down here. That should remain south of the tornado. Get a little tighter, Chase.
This is Finney Road, or Piney Road, or Piney Road, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Piney Road?
Yeah, this is Piney Road.
There's Piney Road right there. This is CC Lane.
Yeah, and this connects to 64 on the north side there.
So this is Piney Road that goes like this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is Piney Road that's going to connect Highway 64 here. Deerfield, you see just to the back side of me right here. You're in that warning, so you need to be in your tornado safe spot. This is Staggs Loop right here. So if you live along or anywhere close to those roads that I just called out, Piney Road, CC Lane, North Chisholm, Creek Road, and you also have Highway 64 here near New Haven and Ovilla. That's where...
Sorry.
Say that again?
Ovella.
Ovella.
Yeah,
Ovella.
your local Ben Luna roof.
A local Ben knows exactly what it is.
I don't want to distract too much. I think this is an extension of this, but indeed we do have...
They're extending the tornado warning?
Okay, so that's what I expected. Actually, it's up here. I thought that might happen.
Yep. So let's switch to...
spend just a little bit on
Let's switch to OHX just real quick.
So I think up here... Yeah, so let's get a sense of what we're looking at. So...
That's very messy, but it's right in here.
It's a little messy, and it's back here near Fairfield, northwest of the highway.
Hey, they're issuing a new tornado warning for this storm.
So that's the one I thought they would be. So So we'll just talk about this really quickly.
Yeah, let's talk about this real quick. So Bethel and Theta, I mentioned you several times already today.
Yeah, Kinderhook as well, right there on the Natchez Trace in northwest Murray.
You're under a tornado warning again. The good news is I think most of this ends up staying off to your north, but as a course of least regret, here in very far northern Murray County, Kinderhook, Bethel, and Theta, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now or heading there immediately. There is a circulation that's off to your west near Fairfield. This is tracking to the east-northeast, but most of it will end up staying north of you most likely. I think this is more of a Craigfield, Tidwell type of storm here right along Interstate 840 in parts of Williamson County. I think this heads more towards you guys as opposed to the extreme northern part of Murray County. All right, let's go back down to the south because we have that new tornado warning. This is the most robust storm that we have right now. This is the extension for northern Lawrence County and includes parts of Lewis County, extreme northwestern parts of Giles County, and extreme southwestern parts of Murray County. This does not include Mount Pleasant, but includes Sandy Hook, Summertown, Alexander Springs. Is that Ethra? Is how you say that, Ben? Right up here, is that Ethra?
Yeah.
It also includes the Ethra community and Napier as well. Here's more times of arrival. Deerfield at 6 o'clock, Center at 6:03, Henryville at 6:09, Etheridge at 6:12, Summertown just 3 minutes past that at 6:15, Alexander Springs at 6:16, Pleasant Valley at 6:18, Liberty Hill, Johnstown at 6:20, Sandy Hook at 6:22, Campbellsville at 6:24, Enterprise at 6:25, Mount Pleasant at 6:26. That would be outside of the warning, but if it continues on, it'll move into Mount Pleasant and Big Creek at 6:26. Again, this is still a tornado warning. Is it confirmed? They went radar indicated with that when I see on the warning graphic over here. So, but again, this has a history of producing a tornado and a confirmed tornado. So if there might not be one on the ground right now, it could easily produce one at any given moment here. This is getting very close to Highway 64 here, just to the west of Deerfield and the intersection of Highway 240 that moves on off to the northeast towards the community of Center.
All right, that's going to be the Turnpike. And that is a very, very well-traveled road for a lot of people in Northwest Lawrence. That's also a classic tornado pathway through this area. And
a good hot spot?
Yeah.
Old Gaithersville out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you said, so that's referred to as the Turnpike?
That's the Turnpike,
That's the Turnpike. Highway 240 here that works its way on off northeast towards Center. This is exactly where this is tracking. So like they said, this is kind of a historic path that some of these tornadoes have taken. If you know that path well, you know exactly where this is going to be heading towards. It's heading right towards the Deerfield community. It looks like it's going to cross Highway 64 between Deerfield and there was a community here. What community is that? Just
that's West End.
West End right here, because I saw it on the map earlier.
You've got Deerfield and West End out there.
Okay, so it's going right through those areas, and it's going to move on off to the northeast towards Center. Also, Red Hill, Hudson, and Park Grove, you need to be in your tornado shelter as well, along with Flatwoods, the Flatwoods community right along Highway 242. You need to be in your tornado shelter right now. Again, we're still watching this backside. Is the velocity signature looking better?
Let me take a look here for you. It's noisy here because we're so close to it and in the inflow, but you know, we've been doing this a lot today. Reflectivity sure does tell a story.
It does. How's the sky cams looking? Can we go to look at one of those? We hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah, I'll flip you over to 3.
As we get on the 6 o'clock hour right now.
Oh, I'll take a single. Let me put you up single here real quick.
Okay.
Zoom out. We're going to zoom out here and look just kind of the broader structure. So there it is still.
Yeah.
That wall cloud, the mesocyclone, and the inflow flowing into it from the right, which would be from the north in this case.
I don't see a lowering like what we did earlier, but it would be back in this area still right here.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing's, it's like I said, it's really hard to see. We're getting that stuff building on the rear flank of it.
Yeah.
The new convection, so it's kind of hard to see with that rain wrap coming around, but there's definitely still rotation on
I can see right in here you're starting to get some of those little fingers that start to kind of creep down a little bit right in this area. So that's where, if you're going to end up getting a tornado, even though back over here, there's a little bit of a lowering within that as well. So again, if you're going to get a tornado here on our Lawrenceburg camera, it's going to end up being in this general area right here. This is from Bill Phillips, the Lawrence County EMA train spotter. Confirmed reports of a wall cloud, nothing underneath. His location is Tennessee Highway 242 near Flatwoods looking west. Wall cloud located 5 miles west of his position. So he's looking back into the storm right here, and he's seen that there is a wall cloud back there, but there's nothing that's underneath it, which is good news. So that means that there's no active tornado on the ground with this, but that could change at any given moment right here. So again, we're watching this wall cloud very carefully here. This is from our Lawrenceburg Arctic Air Skycam Network Skycam. And again, if we're going to end up getting anything, this is going to be the best vantage view of this. And I know that there's a fire going down there, and every now and then it looks like it's obscuring or making me think I'm seeing something in the wall cloud there, and I'm really not.
You know, let me see here. Just taking a look at some off-screen sources. We still definitely have that robust hook. I was looking at our radar, and we continue to see that RFD pushing out. And you don't see structures like that, and they usually end up producing something, wall cloud or otherwise.
And they did earlier.
Oh, and they did earlier.
They did earlier, so that means that this could easily do it again. And the other thing is, If you're south of Deerfield, that's that rear flank downdraft punching in on the back side. So you could end up getting some damaging wind potential with that on the order of 50, 55, maybe 60 miles per hour. So if you don't have a tornado, if you're on the southern side of that rotation, you might end up getting some rear flank downdraft damaging winds. And that is a lot better rotation there. It's not as noisy. Let's zoom in tighter on that, because that could be where.
Together a little bit.
Do what?
It's definitely getting its act together just a little bit here.
It is, and this is right along that turnpike that Ben mentioned that works its way on off towards the center community. And again, there's that wall cloud that's still being reported, and we're still seeing it from our Lawrenceburg Skycam.
And you know, matter of fact, I'm going to throw it up here on 3 because we're starting to see back into there, and there's a little contrast. You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
All right, see if you can. Hey, use the mouse. Chase, use the mouse and kind of point it out to me.
Do you you're going to have to squint a little bit, but right here-ish, there's a little bit of contrast.
I'm going to get close right here.
You see right
I see what you're talking about,
yeah,
yes.
There's a little contrast
There's a little bit, there looks like there's a lowering right here. That could be a possible tornado, because I see it right here.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It's definitely in that rain-wrapped regime.
Are we able to get a little tighter on that at all? Maybe get a little bit of contrast with it?
Yep.
And I think that's one of the industry buildings there. Not actually.
Not a fire, it's actually,
I think that might be one of the industry buildings.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah, so right in there, we're looking kind of back into the
right
notch.
in here.
To the right would be kind of our base there flowing in. It's hard to say.
So I can see right now, if I'm looking on my side monitor, even right here, you can still see, there's clouds here, obviously, but you have a little bit of a darker representation right through here, and you also have it on the back side right here. So there's a chance that either this is a wall cloud that is right in this area, or there is a tornado that is on the ground here from our Lawrenceburg Skycam that's being obscured by the rain right now. But again, there is some type of contrast back there that I can make out that leads me to believe that there could be something back there behind the rain. Good catch, guys, because I would not have seen that.
I think right here might be just our broader wall cloud kind of getting its act together. You know, it gets
right here.
We're looking right there at the interface, and I mean, it's quite the structure. That's for sure.
It could be. Hey, this could be where you end up getting a new one.
Hey, let's
go Etheridge.
Yeah, we're going to go to Etheridge. That has a much better view of it here, headed right into.
You want me to pull it right here?
I got it on 1.
Okay, you got it on 1.
Yeah, that has a really nice view.
Wow. That is.
Yeah, there's Etheridge.
I tell you, the Supercell structures today have been absolutely fantastic to look at.
Yes, they have, yeah.
This is, I mean, if you're going to end up getting tornadoes, today's a day that you can, if you're going to get tornadoes, it's good because you can actually see them. And obviously it's bad that we have them, but at least from a vantage point, you can see exactly what's going on with these supercells. And this is the type of look that you usually get out in the plains. You really don't get a lot of these picturesque supercells here very often. They happen. They tend to be kind of on more severe weather, big-time severe weather days, but we're actually getting some today. And again, this is looking back at that supercell that has that tornado potential with it. The tornado warning, it did have a confirmed tornado at one point, but there's no confirmation of one right now. So again, this is looking south towards that supercell.
Matter of fact, from Etheridge, I think that would be west.
That is
west southwest.
That's west southwest.
West southwest.
Okay, yes.
So definitely, yeah, south component, but more west southwest. So again, that's looking back in that general vicinity. Still seeing a lot of lightning with it too. How's the a little ball there that's making me a little suspicious?
I'm not seeing anything too crazy right now because our hook still here is sort of just over center.
Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of our RFD stuff flowing in. We're getting
there we go, right in here. So this is just to the west of Hudson.
Check that out. Yeah, still kind of noisy since we're in that inflow area. Looking off camera here real quick.
Hey, Etheridge is going to be pointed now west, northwest.
And we'll have that up on links 1 here, or links 3 rather, in a moment. But yeah, right now, still a little noisy, but I would definitely say this is a dangerous supercell. I mean, look at that shape. It's definitely producing hill back by Henryville.
Yeah.
You're probably getting better part of quarters, maybe $50 out there as well. So this is
hey, notice on the back of the Etheridge shot, go full on Etheridge real quick.
All right, I'll go
and look on the right-hand side. There you go. You see it?
Hey, watch out, Taylor. Watch out behind you.
Look behind you.
Right side.
Yeah, that's your...
no, go left side. Is that a scud?
That's Scud.
You talking about over here?
Yep.
No, that's on the wrong side.
That's on the wrong side. Any tornado potential is going to be back over here.
Yeah, that's going to be. It's
Okay, I see it. I was too far away from the camera.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's so much. You're getting so much turbulence over here that you're going to end up getting kind of up and down motions with some of the cloud features over there. Real quick, because I know that people are going to be like, "Why aren't you talking about us?" And it's a good thing that we're not talking about you. But just to let you know, down here in Florence, we now have a storm that's developing and getting stronger. But there's nothing happening with this. There's no severe warning on it. There's no tornado warning on it. So just to give you a heads up there, people in Florence are wondering what's going on outside. Why aren't you talking about us? We're not talking about you because there's no severe weather down there.
Hey, you want to take just a really quick look at the cell moving there in that portion of Murray County? Just
Yes, because we have that kind of side of it.
Yeah, and here, matter of fact, I'll go to OHX because we probably have a better view. And
that's going to end up betting more up here.
Yeah, I would. And to be honest with you, it's kind of broad. And
it is. And that
looks
one's
like the signature would be up here.
Right here.
If anywhere, yeah, I
right
would
there.
agree with that. But we want you to know, up here in northwestern Murray County, Natchez Trace, Kinderhook, Bethel, Theta community, we're not ignoring you, but we're kind of doing a triage thing where the most important one takes precedent right now, and this one does not look as significant for the Murray County portion of our area.
No, and that rotation is going well north of it, so this will not impact Murray County at all.
So I just wanted to kind of go back here real quick just so people know up there, those small communities, that we're not ignoring you, just not quite as much of a significant cell. And matter of fact, look at OHX. This thing looks pretty impressive.
It looks impressive. Let's do a double box with the Lawrence County cam because we're getting reports of power flashes 1 mile south of Tennessee Highway 240, tracking roughly parallel with it. So that's going to be that turnpike right here through the center community. So if we have that Lawrence County cam, that's going to give us.
That's Etheridge. Ben just turned it. So
it's Etheridge. Okay, so that's going to get a better look at it then from that point.
I've got you zoomed in directly into it.
Let's take that full chase.
On Etheridge.
All right, I'll take you on 3. It's a little fuzzy right there, but you can definitely see the structure.
Yeah, right in here. So we're getting reports of power flashes. So what could be happening is you end up getting kind of an intermittent touchdown potentially, and if a tornado ends up hitting the right spot where you have some power lines and some transformers, you're going to end up getting some power flashes with it. So there's a chance that there could be either a tornado on the ground here back in this image right here, or it's kind of touching down, lifting back up, touching down, lifting back up. And I can kind of see right here, guys, in that contrast, there's a little bit more of a lowering right through here. There's a little bit of a lowering right through here.
Yeah, I kind of see that as well.
Maybe even back over here. Again, that might be more rain over at that point, but there is a little bit more of a lowering right here. Again, this is looking.
How it's looking on radar.
Yeah. So this is again in the Etheridge community. This is looking back towards. Now would be the west, correct?
Almost due west.
Due west.
Yeah, you're about to get a big lightning strike on that.
Okay.
Right behind you.
Right behind me. Let me step off. I see. Does it have a little bit of a lag on it?
Yeah, it has just
a tiny. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Now we're in focus. Zoomed out just a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Just to reiterate again, who's in this tornado warning? Etheridge, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. Summertown, you also need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. The entirety northern part of Lawrence County, you need to be in your tornado shelter. What's up?
I have confirmation that we have power outages. A lot of the meters have just gone off on. Hang on.
So that would definitely square with the power flashes.
Yes.
Chief Creek Road off of Turnpike.
Okay, and we're also going to have to really start watching that storm west of Florence. It's starting to hook around too.
I'll keep an eye on that.
Keep an eye on that, guys. All right, so again, we're watching back in here. Etheridge, need to be in your tornado shelter. I know I've mentioned that for the past several minutes now. You should already be there. But if you're just now joining us or just now recognizing that, hey, you're under a tornado warning, Etheridge, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. If we want to back things out real quick with switch back over to the radar, yeah. So again, Summertown, you need to be in your tornado shelter. Henryville, Alexander Springs as well, along with Etheridge. Did y'all want to say something?
Oh, I was just going to add very attenuated here. So
yes,
fill in the gap. That's probably significant rainfall and perhaps some hail. But
right in here,
quite a robust structure still on this. We have our hook about as close as you'll get with a radar like this, and we can take well
right here.
Yeah, there you go. I'll zoom in nice and tight here for you.
This is right along Henryville Road and Briar Hill.
So hold your finger there.
Right here.
All right.
Maybe a little bit of
we might have kind
that
of
that might be where.
Hey, go back in.
Oh, sure.
Let's go back in and then go immediately to. Hang on. Fiddlesticks. Okay. Go.
It's looking.
Zoom back into Henryville.
Henryville and look southwest. I think I see where you're looking.
Yep.
So might have had a
something
link.
right back in here.
Yeah, right in there.
Go to velocity.
That's where you've got the outages reported out.
That's where the outages are. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of rotation
bit of
there.
a surge here, so
That could be RFD at that point.
And that could be pretty strong in its own right, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's why I mentioned if you don't have a tornado and you get close by to one, if you don't get the tornado, you're going to get the RFD winds. It's the rear flank downdraft. It's the winds coming down on the backside of the storm that is associated with the downdraft, and those could be very strong, on the order of 60, 70. Some of these big-time supercells out in the plains, you're pushing 100 miles an hour, if not over it, with some of those rear flank downdraft winds. I don't think we're getting that strong with this RFD at this point, but that's going to cause some issues. And again, this is something that we're looking at it very closely. There's a lot of eyes on this, so nothing's going to get past us because we have a live radar that's looking right immediately into the storm. We have spotters on the ground watching things. So again, if something happens, we're going to know very quickly with this storm. So again, want to reiterate, Summertown, tornado shelter now. Alexander Springs, tornado shelter now. Etheridge, tornado shelter now. Henryville, you still need to be in your shelter. Center, give it a little bit of time. You can come out of your shelter here soon. Napier, I think you're all good. You don't have to be in your tornado shelter right now. And let's pan the radar down just a little bit to the south, guys. Want to get some people to some all clears. Go back to the west a little bit. Deerfield, I think you're all good. And how'd you pronounce it? Is it Ovila?
Ovilla.
Ovilla. You can come out of your tornado shelter right now, too, along with Deerfield, like I mentioned. Center, stay there just a little bit longer, even though the bulk of the rotation's off to your north right now. You still got some storms to deal with. So I would just kind of hunker down there, stay there for a little bit.
That's an extension.
That's their extending, yeah. They were saying that in the chat. This will cross I-65 very close to Columbia and Mule Days. That is from the Weather Service in Nashville. So again, this is a new extension of this tornado warning here that is going into Giles County and Lewis County and Murray County, Tennessee. And this this goes until 7 o'clock. So this is a 45-minute warning here on this tornado warning. So as soon as it starts to pop up, we'll do another storm track on this. So there's your new warning polygon. Bigbyville, Broadville, Campbell Station, how do you say that, Culioca, Fountain Heights, and Bryant Station. You need to be in your tornado shelter right now, along with the city of Columbia. Columbia, you're now in a tornado warning. This is your first tornado warning of the day that you've actually been a part of. I know the other parts of the county have already had one, but this is now in the city of Columbia. If you live in Columbia, Popular Top, Lebanon Heights, Mount Pleasant, Sandy Hook, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. This is for that supercell that's coming out of northern Lawrence County and will eventually get into parts of northwestern Giles County and into parts of Murray County. Here's your latest time of arrival. This is going to be for Rockdale at 6:22, Sandy Hook at 6:24, Enterprise at 6:27, Mount Pleasant at 6:30, Scotts Mill at 6:31, Ridley 6:32, Southport 6:34, Broadview 6:35, Bigbyville 6:38, Stiffersville at 6:39, Hollywood 6:39, Popular Top 6:40, Campbell Station 6:43, Culioca 6:44, and then Lebanon Heights 6:45. BTI, I was curious, that said 4.6. I hadn't seen anything go higher than that today.
Yeah, that's been kind of the magic number for today. The BTIs have been, in that.
They've been generally below 5.
Huh?
They've been generally below 5 today.
Yes, they have.
So,
except for this early morning.
Yes.
So,
what was it this morning, by the way? I'm just curious about that.
I'll have to go. They all kind of blend together.
Yeah.
I just know that Fred said that one was actually substantial.
Substantial. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier today, once that index gets like towards 6, 7, 8, and it goes up to 10, once it gets all the way up towards those higher end of the spectrum, that's when you really start to worry about a tornado and even a significant tornado. I don't think we're dealing with that right now, but you have a really good hail core with this right on top of Summertown. So Summertown, you're getting a lot of hail right now. Some of them could be on the order of nickel and maybe even quarter size. I don't think it's anything super large than that. But here is your area of rotation looking at it from the Nashville NextRad. Again, this is just now on top of Highway 43. This is southeast of Summertown. This is moving out of Lawrence County and will eventually work its way into southern Murray County. Enterprise, you're next right here on the map right now.
I'm going back and forth between OHX and HTX.
Okay, they still got that rotation. One of them's, well, there's the update. There it is right on top of the highway. What's up, Kelly?
I'm not sure if we mentioned that this does have a confirmed tornado tag.
It does have a, okay.
It does, actually, yes. So I guess it's had a lower CC for several volume scans now. Let's go to the CC. We're going to be right here. There could be a little bit of a beware. What's the CC have on it? That's kind of in a, that's noise right there.
What is that's HTX.
What does OHX have? It's going to be right in here. Back this one up, if you could, real quick, Ben. Just kind of do like a backwards loop. Yes, there it is.
Okay. That is...
I would just chip in to say I would caution that might be hail.
I was just thinking that because that's and right with that hail core and right that.
Hold your finger over that inflow.
Okay, that's going to be where that inflow is.
And Ben, do the CC real quick.
That's inflow.
Okay, so I just wanted to be totally sure here that the page was set there, but
so they might be going off of that
and
with the CC, and that's back to live. Okay, so Train Spotter has a wall cloud in view, no funnel or tornado at this time. Track will cross 43 just south of Summertown. So it could be that they're looking at that CC drop, but like Chase said, it's actually more of like in the inflow area, so it's not necessarily a actual debris signature. But it is something that we're watching very closely here. So again, if you're just now joining us, if you live in Mount Pleasant, if you live in Columbia, you are now under a tornado warning until 7 p.m. You need to be in your tornado safe place. That's the lowest part of your home. Get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Go grab a helmet. If you don't have a helmet available, go grab a pot out of your pantry or where you keep your cookware, because you put that on, that's going to help just as much as a helmet. So again, if you live in Mount Pleasant, Enterprise, Bigbyville, the Columbia metro area, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. Here's your rotation tracker. It's still on the weak side of things, but we've seen signatures like this today, and they have produced tornadoes. So just because it doesn't say strong or extreme up here on the little legend doesn't mean that it's not producing a tornado. Here is the view from the high top NextRad. And there is definitely an area rotation that is just now crossing Highway 43. That's where that spotter reported a wall cloud, but they said no funnel or tornado at this time, and that track's going to take it across Highway 43. This is our live X-band Doppler radar here in downtown Lawrenceburg. That's a little suspicious right here. What does the velocity signature say on that? That's not really in a good spot. That might just be a dead zone. Yeah, that's a dead zone right there. So this is your entire rotation right here. You got your inflow coming in from the south. It's hooking around here. This is your rear flank downdraft punching in on the western side. So that's why you get this area of rotation right here. Excuse me, all of that working together. And you're getting that potential for a tornado that's just now about to cross U.S. Highway 43 just north of Alexander Springs. And that's still a little bit of a dead spot there, but I've noticed it's definitely curling around very, very nicely. Summertown, you're seeing a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning, probably some damaging winds, and you're also seeing the potential for some hail in there as well. But again, it looks like the bulk of the tornado potential is going to end up being just south of you, but you're very close that you need to be in your tornado shelters still. If you live in Henryville and Barnesville, I can go ahead and give you an all clear. You're on the backside of that tornado warning, but this storm is definitely well off to your east at this point. So even though you're seeing some rain, seeing some lightning, hearing some thunder, the tornado threat has passed you. So Henryville, Briar Hill, Barnesville, you have an all clear right now. You can come out of your tornado shelter. This is right on top of Highway 43, just to the southeast of Summertown. What is have we seen anything from the sky cams? I know y'all are still kind of looking at sky cams right here.
I've not seen anything yet. I'm looking at Mount Pleasant. We're not really going to see anything. That's just going to be in the bulk of the rain and maybe some hail. But I'm peeking around. I'm not seeing anything right now. I don't know if anyone else is. But I'm not seeing anything right now. That doesn't mean we don't need to be in shelter.
This is going to be a new flash flood warning coming down for Murray County in our viewing area. So that's not a convective or a...
That's not an immediate concern. I'm still looking off the side here to the cells that are coming out of Lauderdale County. They don't look overly impressive right now, which is good, but they're in a spot where you can easily get some intensification. There's stuff that's developing off to the south of that. So we'll have to continue to watch and see what happens down to our south if those storms start to kind of ramp back up and could cause some issues. Still, again, we're watching way off to the west. We're not done with the storm threat tonight. We're having storms that are starting to cross the Mississippi River. They're going to be impacting the Memphis metro area, but eventually some of those could start to impact our area a little bit later on down the road. But again, our main concern right now is for this tornado-warned storm that is on the northern side of Lawrence County. Tornado warning for parts of Lawrence County into parts of Lewis County, Murray County, and parts of Giles County as well. This is just about to cross the county line into southern Murray County here. So this is going to be somewhere between Sandy Hook and Enterprise. I think it's going to end up being more towards the Enterprise community and eventually work its way up towards Broadview and Bigbyville. Again, it's this area right back in here with that hook that we've been watching for, and we're still watching the Weather Service chat for any additional information on whether there's confirmation of tornado touchdowns, any power flashes. The velocity chase didn't look too impressive on that one, so I'm wondering if it moved north of the boundary potentially, because the signature, the rotation's still there, but it's not as strong as it was earlier.
It's not as point-like, and it's kind of a broader sort of situation there. I would agree with that, or at least acknowledge that as a possibility.
See if you can kind of rewind that. I want to see when it was kind of its strongest, so it kind of gauge back on velocity. I want to see if it might have crossed that boundary potentially. So again, you go back. So that's when you really started to get a lot more coloring here in some of the velocity.
Then
it kind of just fell apart. So the way that it spreads apart kind of tells me that I think it went north of that boundary.
And there's a certain sort of, kind of angling out here a little too aggressive there. But you see what I mean?
Yes. So you end up getting kind of this rush on the backside. So it looks like the rear flank has kind of come all the way back around and it's kind of come back into this area right through here.
Push out
with that, because that's all that away velocity. So it's moving this way.
Take the Lawrenceburg Skycam real quick.
I think we're looking right into that RFD.
Yeah. That's a pretty amazing shot.
Yeah, it's nice and clear out there. You know me, I like my clear spots, and that's looking right into it.
Yep. So there's your rear flank downdraft punching all the way through here. That's on that back side of the storm.
79 over 64 here in Lawrenceburg.
And just
so is that right now?
that is. I fixed that.
Okay,
yes,
so that is correct. So you're still very warm and very moist. So again, if any tornado potential would kind of be back in this area right here, because like Chase said, this is that rear flank downdraft coming in on the back side, and it's trying to wrap back around. So this could be right here, maybe a new circulation that's trying to get going, but I think the original one is kind of back in here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And
this is starting to kind of come up. This could be a new updraft that's trying to form.
Yeah, it looks sort of interesting. Matter of fact, since we know where that is, let's check on the radar, see if
that looks like it's this.
It might just be like the sort of situation where you get on the axis of an RFD vortexes that kind of push out. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So we might be looking at that there.
Because there's really not a lot of rotation with it.
Yeah, so we might just be seeing some of that turbulent action there as
right, so you end up kind of getting a little bit of an upward push right there because of everything going on.
Pretty interesting, though, but the main threat remains up here. It's kind of near the Tri-County line.
Yeah, this is just now moving into Murray County.
Yeah, just now is kind of between communities right now. Let me check what road this is. This is Elk Ridge Road, riding up the Tri-County point, right up through here.
Yeah.
And that's actually the point where the NOAA weather radio transmitter is.
Oh, so this is right up there by the transmitter. Let's hope that thing stays up.
Yeah.
But we still do see that surge there, right? And you get a little bit of inflow here, so there is rotation still. You do want to take this seriously, no doubt about that. But it's definitely evolving right now.
And the other thing is, you're getting this inflow right here. And just like what we saw in the Supercell, that I believe it was the Northern Murray County one, Chase, is you're starting to get that little bit of another appendage on the back side here. So it looks like that inflow could be kind of punching through, and you're starting to get maybe a little more rotation in this area. Right in this area, you're starting to get just a little bit more spin. It's not overly strong, but it could be that circulation is trying to ramp back up and you're getting your rear flank downdraft really starting to kind of curl back around here, because that's a really good inflow notch, and you're starting to get maybe a little bit more hell potential here. Yeah, that's starting to grow a little bit, so that updraft might start strengthening again here. So Enterprise, again, you're the next town or community that is going to be impacted by this area of rotation here. Again, tornado warning in effect, Sandy Hook, Mount Pleasant, and Columbia. You are still under a tornado warning. We're still watching this, but right now it looks like it's kind of more of a southern Murray County and northern Giles County issue as opposed to central Murray County. The other thing is that because it's starting to potentially move a little bit to the right, that kind of enhances the shear with it. And so it could start to ramp up here once again with another tornado possible developing here with this supercell.
And Taylor, real quick, while y'all reset and look at things, I do want to say, and I know I'm off camera with this, but just so you know, our local video server is pretty much at max capacity.
Okay.
And so if you have a dropped camera or a dropped video feed from us, if you would just go down, click down in the app or swipe down, go to YouTube, and the YouTube feed is perfectly solid. It's directly fed at the same time. It's just that our video server is local, and we are grateful that the number of people who are watching us depend on us, but that is why we are lagging a little bit, and having that issue in the app is because of the massive amount of traffic watching.
Okay.
Very good.
Let's very quickly go back up to northern Murray County. We're going to have to switch to OHX real quick. There was a...
Oh, it's well out of the county.
Yeah, we'll go to, I can't remember when, what time is it? Go to CC real quick.
Oh, CC?
CC and kind of go back. I'm trying to see where right here.
I would be willing to bet that's probably clear air. Yeah.
That is clear.
that's
Okay.
Yeah.
There was somebody
There
was
spurious reports out and about.
Yeah,
but,
there was someone that was looking at that, and I was just very curious to see if that was anything. And the one behind it, coming up towards the Jones Valley area, that has a little bit of a hook on it, but there's really not a lot of rotation with that. So, okay, we can go back down to the south. That was catching my eye in the chat, and I was really curious what he was getting at. That is some pretty good hail potential now here in the Broadview community just south of Bigbyville. And this tells me that this supercell is starting to strengthen once again. So we could be seeing another area of rotation. Go back to reflectivity real quick. This could be the original meso, and this could be another one that goes.
See how it evolved. Let's see. Well, look at that.
That's your original meso.
It cycled. It did
right here. It cycled, and now here's your new updraft and wall collapse. That might have been what we saw on that Skycam.
Yep.
Is if we can go back to the Lawrenceburg Skycam, that might have been that new updraft that started to get going. So we might have a really good view of it here. I know it's going to get a little bit further away.
It's definitely getting
It's definitely kind of further away, but it's in this area right through here.
Yeah, it's the dynamic range is also a little high.
We also have a camera in Linville.
Yeah, we do have a camera in Linville as well.
Let's see, is that showing anything, Kelly?
I do not know what direction this is facing, but
Okay, this
so
is
we need to
facing
be
due
looking
west.
due north or northwest. And we've got some terrain, so it may be hard since this is a little bit ways away from Linville, but it at least puts some more eyes on what we're seeing.
It's handy to see the conditions too. 81/66.
It is absolutely juicy outside.
Almost feels like early summer compared to
Yes,
April.
that's the thing. All of our severe weather stuff we've looked at, you might have an ingredient lacking, shear might be lacking, but you have good instability, vice versa. We have instability today. That is not an issue, and shear's not an issue as well. So I think this is looking back. Is this would this kind of be the general base back over here towards my right?
So that is probably going to be your rain base. I'm thinking.
Okay. So you're thinking it was going to be back over.
Are we looking
You're
due
looking.
northwest or?
You're looking due northwest on Linville.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I need to go any direction with it?
I think we just need to be due northwest exactly.
I think we're good here. We're looking back into that that corridor. It looks like the bases might be a little higher.
A little bit. So we're going to be looking back in here because this is kind of catching my eye a little bit. Just a little bit of, I'm not saying it's a funnel cloud, but it's got a little bit of an ominous. Sure. It's upward motion for sure, which is where you want to see. Okay, well that's where the updraft is located. So again, we'll be watching this camera very closely here, looking at the Weather Service chat. Only touchdown that we know about was in an open field in western Lawrence County. Several reports of rotating wall clouds as it tracked through the county. So it looks like we did have a tornado that was confirmed in western Lawrence, but the good news is it looked like it was out in an open field, so it didn't do any damage. We did have reports of some power flashes, and I do wonder, based on where that was, guys, maybe that was an actual RFD push that ended up having some damaging winds with it, as opposed to.
I actually meant to go back here.
Yeah, I was walking away.
This is our RFD. I think this.
Ben, can we move the camera a little bit more north?
Yes. Yeah. What's this over here?
Yeah, that's our updraft base. Here's what it is. This is your cut RFD.
Yes.
Inflow into here.
Inflow right here.
And this is your hook.
And that's very, very close to the ground right there. That's a very nice CG.
Nice
so there's your rain shaft. Okay. There's your downdraft over here.
So here's your inflow coming in here. You would hook, if you have your conceptual model, this is your RFD punch.
Yep, you can kind of see right here. That's where it's wrapping back around, right here, that cloud base. It starts to kind of jut back. So we can zoom in to this little spot right here.
Yeah, that's going to be our wall cloud, our mesocyclone.
And there's your tail coming into it right here.
Yep, and we're looking at it from the back end. Beautiful. I mean, again, beautiful.
Everything today has been beautiful.
You see this in the plains, right? So that's going to be your wall cloud right there, the inflow coming in. You can see it rising. Look, you can actually see it rising pretty quickly.
In real time.
Right through here. So if we're going to get a tornado, it's going to be right in this area right here.
Yeah,
there's your rotating wall cloud.
Little blocked by the terrain. But
little blocked, but you're getting... I can't tell if they're actually kind of little vortexes that are getting a little condensate instead of actual like scud, because it looks like they have some motion with it. So it could be that you might have like every now and then a little bit of a funnel right here, but there's your tail cloud coming up and into this storm. Here's your rotating updraft right through here. Like Chase said, that's your clearing, so that's your backside of the rear flank downdraft. So you got winds that are coming right through here, coming back this way, and then you got winds right here coming back into it that way. So there's your rotation right in this area right here. So that's going to be a very good vantage point because this is moving out of that hill right there. And so if anything happens, we're going to be able to kind of see it a little bit better once it gets over in this area. What stadium is that?
That is the Richland High School.
Richland High School,
yeah,
okay.
The stadium there.
Yeah, so you're looking, that's actually approaching a fairly well-populated part of northern Giles County.
All right, let's go.
And will possibly be interacting just north of downtown Linville if it continues to stay on that track.
All right, well, then let's do a double box then and then take the radar behind me.
We'll
because
pull that
if there's,
up on 3, and then we will take a radar on 2 here.
This is getting into a well-populated area of Giles County then we need to, or excuse me, you said, where you mean Murray County?
It's the northern Giles, southern Murray.
Yeah.
Northern Giles, southern Murray.
And I would say it's probably just now crossing the county line.
Yes, because it's now going into Murray County here. So Southport, Broadview, this is Highway 245 that goes down towards Gibsonville. This is exactly where that area of rotation is located right now. Right back in this area, there's really not a lot going on right there velocity-wise, but we've seen exactly from where that camera's vantage point is, there's a lot of rising motion going on, and there's a little bit of rotation with that. Southport, Broadview, Hollywood. Hollywood's right here along US 31. Right towards, I believe that's Stiversville. Is that how you pronounce that? Stiversville? Stiversville. Right towards the Stiversville area, then eventually Colioca and Campbell Station, and then eventually I think that's Scribner right here. Almost looked like it said Schooner from where I was looking at it, but Scribner. And then we'll eventually get close and cross Interstate 65 right around the Bryant Station exit as well. So again, this is a little bit further down the road here, but again, this is part of that tornado warning polygon here. We're watching this back edge very closely. It's just now about to cross into southern parts of Murray County and get out of Giles County. It is out of Lawrence County right now.
It's also about to cross Interstate 65, and it is 6:37, so we're coming on the backside of rush hour, but still a very high traffic area. So southern
Do a storm track real
County,
quick.
Yeah, I was
those
about
of you
to.
on Interstate 65, be aware. This area of circulation is about to cross the interstate.
Looks like that'll be in probably the better part of 5 to 9 minutes, give or take.
No, interstate's further this way.
Oh, that's 30.
That's 31. Interstate's right over here.
Oh, so we're a ways out. Still
You're a ways out. You
65.
got some time for the interstate. So,
So
Bryant
about
Station.
6:56. Okay.
Yes, so Bryant Station, so close to that 7 p.m. time frame. That's when it's going to end up starting to cross Interstate 65 somewhere near the Bryant Station community. So here's another storm track. Gibsonville at 640.
Look at your
Broadview
camera
at
view now.
643. Yeah, that looks very impressive.
Ingesting everything that it's got.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is. Yeah, for sure.
Colioco around 648, Lebanon Heights 652, Mooresville at 653 along with Fountain Heights, Bryant Station like we mentioned close to 7 p.m., Beech Grove 657, Rock Springs 658, Berlin 701, and then Lewisburg 702 and Pottsville at 706. So let's go back to that camera that we're watching in Linville.
And after that, if we can, let's do a quick reset view for
Yes.
the entire area. I've been getting a lot of messages from people about, hey, what's going on here, there, and everywhere.
Yes.
And just to let people know what the overall view is after we watch this for just a second or two more.
And that is very impressive with this. I mean, that's actually going more vertical, for at least early on, and then getting horizontal. So that's a big,
You're starting to
big
be able
push
to see
right
through
here.
it, and I certainly don't see anything much lower than about the top of that tree. You can kind of
Yeah.
see through that precipitation. So still a wall cloud there eating that stuff up. You can see how it rotates right into it. But
Is that someone mowing the field down there?
you know what? It might be.
That's a heck of a time to start mowing down there on the field.
Lawnmower, yeah.
That
Not-
is some.
not a good
That's
time for
dedication right there, folks. But
Not a
I
good
mean,
time for that, but,
I would. The good news is with him though, this is moving off to his north. So
Yeah, that is true.
that is true. But I would not recommend being this person down here that's actually doing some. It looks like doing some yard work down there on one of the fields. So again, we're watching this closely, but let's do what Ben suggested, because I know every now and then we get hooked on these storms, especially when it's the only warning that we have. We can kind of hyper focus on that, but yeah, we do need to back out and show some other things. There is another cell that's developing here south of Lawrenceburg in southern Lawrence County, right on top of Loretto, getting very close, if not on top of Leoma right now. But that is not severe, but it does have some lightning, some heavy rainfall as well. There's another cell that is here just to the east of Savannah that will eventually work its way into Waynesboro, and that has a hook on it. Not shocked, because all of these storms have had supercell structures with them. So there is a little bit of rotation on the back side here. So there's a chance we might have to watch for another chance at a possible tornado with this storm. But that's not severe at the moment, so I'm not really too overly concerned about that. And I'm not too concerned about these cells right here. If we back things further out, let's go back to the radar network, just kind of give a broad view, because again, there's still development that we're watching back here towards the south, but the good news is I'm not seeing anything that's showing big time robust updraft development. You're not getting a lot of lightning, you're not getting hail cores that are developing from these storms. Off to the west though, we're not done. We have more cells that are developing here off to the west. This is south of Memphis right now. They have a severe thunderstorm warning on this supercell. And then there's another massive supercell that's back here towards Pine Bluff, where you have the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff right there south of Little Rock. That will track into the Memphis metro area. The good news is right now that I see is if you put this into motion, take the lightning off real quick, Chase, and put it into motion. And I think this is moving.
Let me change the increments here.
I think this is moving more this way.
Let me find it. There we go.
Yeah, so this
Moving more northeast.
that's moving more northeast. So if you put an arrow on there for like a time arrival, I think it will end up maybe going north of our counties here. I think it's kind of generally, up towards maybe like the Parsons area. So it's going to be a close call though with some of these supercells. And like I mentioned before, every now and then you can get these that develop and they might move a little bit further to the right. They might move a little bit further to the left. So there's a chance that if this ends up moving a little bit further to the right, it might impact counties like McNairy and maybe parts of Hardin County. But again, we're not done yet. We still got multiple storms to go, potentially later on this evening, so we'll have to watch those very carefully. All right, let's go back into our tornado warning storm. So that's a big overview of kind of what we're looking at right now. Again, if we're not mentioning you, That's a good thing. If we're mentioning you, that's a bad thing. Just keep that in mind today. Here's another live look at our Doppler radar here. Another possible tornado signature here just to the south of Hollywood. Is the velocity still looking kind of iffy on it? It's still looking. It almost looked like it tried to ramp back up and cycle, and then it just kind of fell apart again.
Yeah, it seems to be trying its best every, at certain intervals.
Yeah,
and it's maybe not taken right now. We have it
on camera. It just took in some strong inflow.
That's severe thunderstorm.
That's that one coming out of Wayne County. What are you saying, Kelly?
Just watching the camera, that area that we've been watching in southern Murray County just ingested a good amount of inflow, so we'll see how it interacts with that.
And that's definitely our wall cloud, 100%.
Yes,
really
that definitely
don't get
is.
much more textbook than that, so that's good to have eyes on.
All right, let's go quickly down to Wayne County,
Yeah,
because
sure,
that's
let's check
that
that
cell that I was watching, and we might be able to see it on our Doppler radar.
Good, yeah. And since we have that in our double shot, we can keep an eye on it, see if
Yeah.
it rotates a little more. But here's that one that's moving into our radar range, which is good. So let's check velocity.
Yeah, let's check velocity, because that's...
So there we go. Okay.
And I've got you
Bit of a
looking.
surge out, yeah.
You're looking at that on the Waynesboro camera if you wanted to take it.
Let's take that.
All right, we'll take that.
And then we'll go back into the polygon and take a look at Waynesboro. You're in the polygon, so you need to watch this very carefully. But again, here's looking back into that storm, and that looks a little bit more messy on this one, but it could still be a little further away.
I was going to say I would note the conditions here in Waynesboro. Dew points now in the upper 50s with temperatures in the lower 60s.
And a northeast wind, so that tells me that it's kind of behind that boundary, but that boundary is probably pretty close.
Oh, it's
and
very
you get
riding it.
And you get some of these storms, and they can actually push the boundary further north.
Yes.
So if they get the mesocyclone that's strong enough, it can actually pull that boundary back into it. That's when we're talking about they can kind of bounce off and on the boundary. So there's a chance that it pulls a little bit back further to the north.
So there you go. Beautiful. Again, just another wonderful striated.
Yes, there it is back in there. This is from the Weather Service in Nashville. The most recent violent tornado parameter from the SPC shows a favored axis extending into southwest middle Tennessee. Notice the complete cutoff. He has an image here right along the surface boundary. So that is the greatest violent tornado potential is highlighted from an area, northern Lawrence County, down into Wayne County, down into parts of southern Hardin County, and then it maximizes right along the Alabama-Mississippi state line between Iuka and Cherokee. So that's kind of that zone where some of the mesoanalysis where it's telling us the best ingredients for tornadoes is in this spot, kind of right in here. That's where our best chance at seeing a potential tornado development. But the good news is there's nothing that's really behind this. So we'll have to watch things. These cells that are out ahead of it, they're struggling because I think they've still got the ridge that's impacted that area. So you're getting a lot of subsidence. So we'll have to watch for these storms that are moving off from the west. If they track into that favorable environment, then that could spell some trouble a little bit later on down the road. All right, let's go into that polygon, and then we'll go back to our tornado-warned storm because it's eventually about to get it towards the I-65 corridor here. I'm talking about this right here. So if you're in Waynesboro, Clifton Junction, Leatherwood, you need to be not really taking your tornado precautions, but you need to, again, if you're outside, go back indoors. You need to just kind of hunker down for the next 45 minutes or so to allow this cell to continue to track on in, and then we'll give you an all clear before, or just try to tell you, hey, you're kind of good to go. And honestly, you might be good to go for several hours because this is the last one before we really get anything else potentially down the road. So again, we are watching that backside to see if there is a little bit of rotation that could have a developing tornado with it. But again, this is just a severe thunderstorm warning, main impact hail, and some damaging winds. Our main focus is still with this tornado-warned storm that is now firmly in Murray County. That's getting close to the Culleoka area. It's right on top of Hollywood and US Highway 31. There is a little bit of rotation. Is that the old? Is it cycling again where that's the old one?
It's sort of the broader meso.
So that's the that's the broader meso at that point. Looking there
within it, and we do have it, of course. Looking into the back of it, but it's getting rain wrapped because, of course, we're looking at the back of it. We're looking at the RF. They were double boxed here now.
Yeah,
you can kind of see what I'm talking about, where you really can't discern much in the way of specific structure.
Yeah,
but we're definitely still seeing it chug along with that rotation.
Definitely
and
is.
you also have a lot of SLCs in this too.
Oh, that you do.
Yes,
Yeah, Ben's
scary-looking
painted around
clouds.
behind
All
it here.
day.
Yep.
All day, every day, you're going to get these scary-looking clouds behind it, but
Yep.
you got to know what you're looking for to really kind of prognosticate, if you will.
Exactly. What does OHX look like? Because I know it's starting to get messy with our
We're getting a little
with our
attenuated,
radar, a
so-
little attenuated now.
I'll switch here for you. So I'll kind of zoom out a bit.
So again, you're still got your hell core here, so it's still a pretty significant storm. It is a strong supercell.
Yeah, and
Here's your chance right here near Corleoka.
You do have that, yeah, and that's right lines up. Well, it's sort of out there in the open a little.
Yeah, a
but-
little open, but it's in that spot right there.
Yeah.
So if there is a chance, as we get a lot of heavy
coming
rain,
down
those
here now in
are
Lawrenceburg.
those cells moving in from the south. Again, they're not severe.
Looks like they're going ahead and continuing with the tornado warning for Marshall and Murray.
I'm not shocked with that based on
Yeah.
the history of this storm.
And that one that goes until 7:15 p.m.
So this is a new tornado warning for Marshall and Murray. So this is going to get it east of Interstate 65. So imagine this is going to impact mainly north of Lewisburg. So this will end up being the Chapel Hill community right along. This is alternate 31 here that moves on the east side of Interstate 65. This is US 431 that goes north of Lewisburg and back up towards the Pottsville and Lee's Corner area. Bryant Station, Pottsville, Farmington, Laws Hill. What's this right here? What?
I'm sorry. That's that's a bit-
Wilhoit Mills.
Wilhoit Mills.
Chapel Hill and Holt's Corner. You need to be in your tornado safe place right now. If you live anywhere along Tennessee Highway 99 between 431 and alternate 31, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. You need to head into that general area. Again, we're still watching that supercell. It still has an area of rotation on the back side of it. It's not overly strong, but we know the history of this storm. It has produced, I would say, at least 2 tornadoes, I think.
We definitely got reports in that nature. And,
Yeah.
This is, matter of fact, I'm going to draw a track out here.
It's drawn at least 2 tornadoes, I know, because there was one that was confirmed in Wayne, and then there's another one that was confirmed with spotters that was out in the field in Lawrence. So it's at least produced 2 quick ones, and it could easily produce another one very quickly. Fountain Heights at 6:53, Bryant Station at 6:55, Rock Springs at 6:58, Berlin at 7 o'clock, Pottsville 7:04, Caney Spring at 7:06, Farmington 7:07, Laws Hill 7:08, Wilhoit Mills 7:10, Chapel Hill 7:11, Holt's Corner 7:14, and then it will eventually get out of Marshall County. So you're impacting places like Unionville, Eagleville, and Anchor Mill anywhere between 7:15 and 7:20. The Weather Service in Nashville is still giving an update on where that boundary is located, and this cell is riding that boundary. Whenever it goes on it, it starts to ramp back up, and I think every now and then it jumps back off on the northern side of it, and that's when you start to lose that area of rotation. So again, we're still watching that. So that boundary right now it's right through this storm. It goes to the northeast. It goes down through. Basically, think of where this path of that storm went. That's where that boundary is located. So it goes through the northern part of Lawrence, near Etheridge and Summertown, down south of Waynesboro, and then hits the tri-point between Lauderdale County, or basically the Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee state line. So that boundary is right through here. That's where that boundary goes, all the way down to this point. So anything south of that, you're going to have a concern for severe weather. Good news is this really isn't showing much in the way of severe weather. If you go north of that boundary, you're going to possibly have some severe weather, but your better chance is damaging winds and large hail as opposed to tornadoes. So that tornado threat is going to be along and south of the boundary. Right now, these are the only storms that are impacting our area. One of them has that tornado warning on it that was just issued for parts of Marshall County and far eastern Murray County. This is getting very close to Interstate 65. So if you're watching us or possibly driving down the road on Interstate 65, if you're coming from the south, from Nashville, I need you to get off on the Highway 99 exit or somewhere around that area and just kind of wait out this storm, because it's going to end up crossing the interstate south of that. If you're coming in from the south, I need you to stop before you get to the Bryant Station exit. I believe there's an exit that goes down here towards Lewisburg, right with US 31 alternate. that moves across the interstate right there. Stop at that exit and wait for this storm to pass. There's some gas stations over there at that exit, so there's places you can pull in if you want to take a quick break. That you can do that over in that area. Again, if you're driving along Interstate 65, don't go south of of Tennessee Highway 99. If you're coming from the south, don't go anywhere beyond the US 31 alternate exit right there for the Lewisburg area, because that tornado potential is going to be crossing in between those two spots that I mentioned right here towards Bryant Station and into the Berlin community. Let's get a little bit tighter on this, Chase, and get a little bit of some street level view here. Again, this is just about to cross Interstate 65, Mount Tema right here. This is Scribner Mill Road. The Scribner community is right where that notch is, where that possible tornado is located. Silver Creek as well. This is going to be on the eastern side of Interstate 65. This is Gillespie Lane. That is going to be northwest of Bryant Station and north of Silver Creek. Again, this is that general vicinity of where this area rotation and possible tornado is going to be. The fact, Chase, that we have this little bit of a finger right here, reflectivity, kind of catches my eye to see maybe that's some inflow that's screaming into the storm, and it is a little bit kind of right in here. That's going to kind of be where your tightest rotation is. Is there a CC drop on? Well, that's going to be clear air, so you're going to be not really see a CC drop on that. So this entire area right here, it could be right on top of Mount Tema. It could be right on top of Scribner. It could be in between Bryant Station and Scribner, somewhere in here. That's where that possible tornado is located. It's going to now be northeast of Colioca.
Per the Tennessee Highway Patrol mile, or the 22nd mile marker is Highway 31A.
The 22nd mile marker is 31. All right. So that's if you're on 65, don't go past exit 22. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Exit 22. Do not go past exit 22. Get off of that exit. Pull off on the side of the road.
On the north side of that, Highway 50 is the 37th mile marker.
Okay, Highway 50 is the 37th mile marker.
So that would be kind of right
That's
there.
right where the tornado is headed.
Okay.
So you don't need to get to the you don't need to get to exit or to the Highway 50 exit. You're right on top of where that tornado is going to go. So your best bet right now, like I mentioned, I would just go towards exit 22. Don't go further than that. Get off on exit 22. Wait it out. Again, like I said, I'm pretty sure I know that exit. There's some gas stations there, I believe. So you should be able to find kind of a safe harbor just to kind of wait this out, because it's going to go north of you. You're not going to be seeing storms from that exit, but you're going to prevent yourself from getting into a dangerous situation here right on top of Interstate 65, right on the Highway 50 exit. That's for the Bryant Station area, and it makes its way down towards the Lewisburg area. So again, that's where that area rotation is starting to now cross the interstate right now. The good news is there's a lot of eyes on this storm, so if we have a tornado that touches down, we're going to know that very quickly. But the fact that we don't really have any confirmation of things like that going on, that leads me to believe that we're still not dealing with a tornado on the ground right now, but that could change at any given point. Again, once this crosses the interstate, you're going to end up getting into Marshall County, the storm is. So the Berlin community, if you live in Berlin or north of Berlin along US 431 as it makes its way on off to the north, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. If you live between Berlin and Highway 99 right there along 431, that's going to be a good zone to where that's where the best chance at this potential tornado is going to track. It could eventually move into the Caney Springs area, Will Hoyt Mills, Chapel Hill, maybe as far south as Laws Hill. So again, it's this general vicinity right here is where we're going to have to watch for that potential tornado that's going to track cross Interstate 65 almost momentarily, Chase.
Yeah, probably right about now, given the slight delay that you get with these.
Yeah.
Also, per THP, there's one after that at the 32nd mile marker.
Okay.
So you've got quite a few little spots through there.
Yeah, you got a little, several spots through there.
You'll get a little Waffle House in Lewisburg before you head up north a little. Yeah.
Yep. That's just being able to give a good wide berth. But yes,
absolutely.
it's that area, again, yes, there's a lot of exits once you get close to where this tornado is possibly tracking.
And I would say it's probably the core area is past 65.
Yes.
Or probably just on top of it.
Just on top of 65 right now.
5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but it looks like that feature, it's kind of broad right now. It's kind of moving north and east over Berlin now. And next up is 431.
Yes.
On that feature.
So like Chase said, it's crossing, if it hadn't crossed 65 already, it's going to right now. So if you're heeding my warnings and you're driving along 65 and you've kind of pulled off on one of those exits that we mentioned, give it about 5 more minutes, let this signature fully cross the interstate here on our next rad, and before we can give you an all clear to just go ahead and continue your journey further to the south or north, wherever you're traveling on Interstate 65. Again, like Chase mentioned, the next major highway is going to be Highway 431 on the north side of Lewisburg. Lewisburg, you're not in the tornado warning. If you're on the north side of Lewisburg, your alarm might have gone off, but I think most of this is going to end up staying north of you all. This is mainly going to be a Berlin to Wilhoit Mills and Laws Hill issue. Farmington, you're still in the warning. You're on the southern side of things. Stay in your tornado shelter, but I think the worst of it's going to end up moving to the north of you all.
Yeah, no, I would say.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you're driving on 431 now, this is a little easier because it intersects with other state highways. Where it forks from 50, don't go there. I'd stay in downtown Lewisburg another 20 minutes or so, maybe another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And where it goes from 431 to 99, don't go down either one because you're going to be driving right into the front of this thing. So stay north of there as well.
Just like what he said. Thank you, by the way. And I don't know if there's probably not a lot of gas stations or pull-offs around here that, you actually have a convenience store or something.
So you'd want to stay here in north, and you'd want to stay here in south. You really don't want to venture between Pottsville and Lewisburg right now on 431.
So what he circled right there, if you can't see that, he circled you don't need to go north of the 431 and Highway 50 intersection. You want to stay south of that towards Lewisburg, and towards Pottsville, you want to stay north of the intersection of Highway 99 and 431.
Yes, indeed. And I suspect we might be getting a little more hail still in the back here.
And hey, real quick, Taylor, I know we do an incredible job all the time about talking about tornado safety and where people need to be. Given the fact that this is affecting I-65 or points around the interstate, per the THP, reiterate, do not get under an overpass.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Do not get under it. Yes. All right, real quick, just to debunk the overpass thing. I know a lot of people, it's almost like an old wives' tale that's like, oh, you're going to it's actually going to be sheltering you. No, what it does is if you have wind that goes through it, you have a tunneling effect. And what happens with wind is if it gets forced through an obstacle, it speeds up. You have a pressure increase and you start to, or excuse me, a pressure decrease, and you start having to force all that wind through that underpass. So if you have your vehicle or yourself standing underneath one of those underpasses and all of a sudden you get that tornado or something nearby that comes through, all of a sudden you're seeing 100-mile-per-hour winds coming through that underpass, and that's not a good thing to do. So again, that debunks that underpass theory. I've never understood why they ended up saying that in the first place, because it's physics. We've all known for the longest time that the wind tunnels and it starts increasing through those areas. All right, enough about that, and get off my soapbox right there for a moment. This is now moving east of Interstate 65. I would give him maybe just a couple more minutes before you can resume your travel if you heeded my warnings and stopped off before some of those exits. Give it just a little bit while longer, but this is eventually moving across Highway 431. So again, same thing, no travel should be along Highway 431. It should not get south of the Pottsville community, and you should not go north from Highway 431 and Highway 50. That's your kind of general rule of thumb right now. If you're on 431, you need to avoid the area between Pottsville and Lewisburg, generally between Highway 99 and Highway 50. You don't need to go in those areas between those two highways. All right, this is now starting to move east of 65. What's up?
NWS Nashville is downgrading this to a severe with tour possible.
Yeah,
okay, so that's that box that I saw pop up. All right, that's really good.
Yeah, they're letting that tornado warning go, and like Ben said.
Yeah.
And that goes till 7:30.
Okay, well that's good. That's what we're seeing is it's continuing to struggle. But the fact that it had tornadoes on it in the past, I think it definitely warranted continuing that tornado warning. So here's that new severe thunderstorm warning polygon here. You can see it drawn within the tornado warning. So again, this encompasses that supercell now. So they're allowing that tornado warning to expire or cancel. They're canceling it. So there it goes. It drops off the screen right there. I would still not recommend travel between Pottsville and Lewisburg, right along Highway 431. The majority of that is in case this ramps back up and you do get a quick tornado. But the other thing is, it's a heavy storm. It's a severe storm. So you're going to get some damaging winds. You're going to get some hail potential with that. So you don't want to be traveling underneath that storm as it moves on through. But the good news is that we don't have a tornado warning now for this supercell. And I believe we don't have a tornado warning at all right now.
Matter of fact, since we're kind of in a...
we're in a little bit of a lull right now.
Waynesboro camera and show that?
Yeah, sure. They actually let go of that severe as well. And
okay, that's good.
And well, if you know your weather, you'll see why it looks a little elevated. But again, Groundhog Day Part 3, beautiful.
Oh, jeez.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cell there. This Waynesboro camera has just been rocking and rolling.
All the cameras.
Yeah, all
Waynesboro,
of them have. Waynesboro's been... Hohenwald's been great. Linville had it.
Linville's been great. Lawrenceburg's been great.
Been fantastic, too.
Heck, we even looked at the Cherokee cam for the ones in northern Mississippi.
20 miles away. But I keep an eye on those conditions, 61 over 59, and even though those
look at the moisture. Just hang on, go back over there. Look at the moisture surging up from the surface.
Oh wow!
Right here. So that's
really incredible.
That's very incredible.
But yeah, so fortunately, like I said, we've lost this severe thunderstorm warning. This was a severe thunderstorm warning earlier, very short-lived one relative to the others, and
I think that was mainly just because it's on that northern side of the boundary.
Yeah, it was kind of too close for comfort. I certainly don't blame them on that respect.
And that boundary might be moving a little bit back to the north. Look at that wind now at the east.
East out of 6. Yeah,
it was northeast. So that boundary might start shifting a little bit back to the north. And it will, like I mentioned multiple times today, it will wobble back and forth. It won't stay in one spot. It will move to the south a little bit. It will move to the north a little bit. But for the majority, it's not going to move 100 miles this way or 100 miles that way. It's going to wiggle anywhere between about 5, 10, maybe 20 miles or so. So you're not talking about a wide wiggle, but it will wiggle every now and then. And it's when these storms latch onto it that you start having some issues. So let's go back to the radar before we break things over there.
Sorry, that's a Ben Luna in the background problem. So
let's switch to instead of
you want to do a radar just an overview.
Do radar overview real quick. Do the radar network.
Here we go. Here's a big picture view of the whole region, and it looks like. You see it as well as I do. Not a lot going on. North Alabama, you still
watching these.
Matter of fact, let me put on lightning. We can kind of get a sense of what those might be doing.
There's no lightning.
Yeah, no lightning on those. We do have to watch out here. That probably follows the axis of that front. I'll go ahead and zoom in.
Matter of fact, before we go to regularly scheduled program, because we've been on here for well over almost 2 hours now, I think, for continuous coverage, so we can kind of catch our breath a little bit, kind of reset things. Why don't you do a storm track?
You want me to do a time of arrival or a...
Do a storm track, but try to keep it. Don't get it like super duper wide. If you know how to adjust that.
I can do a fan here.
And do it for like 50.
We'll do it 50, and I'll adjust the time to, let's say, 2 hours.
2 hours will be good, and then see if you can adjust the fan.
I can narrow the fan just a bit.
Narrow the fan just a bit, because I don't think it's going to get this far north. I don't think it's going to get this far south.
So we'll call it about. So maybe somewhere in between there. About here-ish, I think, would be a pretty good fan.
See if you go 3 hours. I want to see if it can get into, there we go.
I'll do, all right, here's our maximum. Our maximum time's 120 minutes we can do on that.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and creep that.
So this is another supercell that's coming out of the Memphis area. If it continues on this track, it might hug the northern side a little bit more. So it could be more Moscow, Boulevard, Tune, and Henderson, as opposed to like the Walnut area, Middleton, Selmer, and Mickey? Mickey. Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah. That's the Mickey community here in McNairy County. So again, I think it might hug the northern side of this a little bit more, but here's just an overview of when we can expect that next potential supercell to come down the pipe and could be giving us some issues here. The Moscow community, that's well outside of our viewing area, but that's going to be east of Memphis at about 7:44, Ashland at 7:54, Salisbury at 8:03, Van Buren at 8:06, Tiplersville at 8:13, Walnut at 8:14 if it hugs it further to the south, and Middleton 8:16.
And I'll tell you what, I can...
And see if we can go a little bit further to where we can see Savannah.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm going to find Savannah here. Definitely a large list of cities.
Yes.
Just due to the nature of the fan, but give me just one moment. So the first city we'll want, we'll go here. Okay, now we're out towards Savannah. Let's see.
Burnsville 8:53, so that's probably going to be around 9 o'clock for Savannah.
Yeah, so we'll probably be talking around the 9 o'clock hour.
So give it about almost 2 hours before that
there we go.
potential.
Yeah, right around 9 for
right around 9 o'clock, 9:02. So again, right around 9 o'clock is when this should start to potentially get into parts of Hardin County, and we'll get into parts of McNairy County about 45 minutes before that time, I believe. So about hour 45, or excuse me, an hour 15 potentially for McNairy County, and then around the 2 hour mark for getting into the heart of Hardin County. Yeah. Again, that's for that supercell that is southeast of Memphis. If it continues to ride along that boundary, it could continue to track on its way on into our neck of the woods.
Let's get a sense of, well, that's an interesting structure.
That's a very interesting structure right there.
I was going to get a sense of
big time RFD surge on the back side.
I was going to do this just to see what we're looking at. It definitely looks like it's behind.
That looks elevated.
Yeah, it looks like it's falling apart too. I bet you this thing doesn't make it.
It might not make it. That's a good catch right there.
Yeah, and I bet you that's not going to be trouble for us.
And if it's on north, it's going to track more this way.
Yeah, and it looks like it's moving that way. So I'll bet you that thing's going to move north and kind of fizzle out. So
good catch.
So the next thing we'll watch is the possibility for more development.
Yeah.
In North Mississippi.
Do we have before we log off here just for a bit? Kelly? Are you able to get the model guidance up on Lynx 1 real quick?
What model do you need?
Do the her, please, ma'am.
You got it.
Her, perfect.
And let's go ahead and switch on over to.
Give me 1 second. Let me make sure it's the most recent run. Okay, we've got the most recent run on here, and let me adjust the time
adjust it back
settings.
a little bit because that's.
So this is future radar.
Yes, this is future radar.
But we're going to take a look here at the possibility of some future conditions.
Because the thing is, when we go through all this severe weather coverage, we don't have time to really look at this in the background because we're all focusing on making sure you have the latest information. All right, so here's 7 p.m. This is now. That's kind of close-ish. That ends up being over here, so it's a good kind of general idea. So we're going to move forward here. Here's 8 p.m. And like Chase said, there could be additional development here that we're watching for. 9 p.m. still seeing something, but that's some good news potentially that there's a wide window here and that just keeps it to the north. That's done by that point. It
looks like this is probably, and now we're heading into Friday morning.
That's done by that point.
So there
looks like everything's looks like everything's kind of shifted further to the north. So that's much more positive signs, and it could easily be that the fact that we had multiple cells go over the same area, it could have just ate up all the instability. So the back build that the models were showing actually ended up being overdone because of what the storms ahead of it actually did to the environment. So that's good news. We'll watch things carefully. It looks like there's still a window here, like Kelly was showing on the her guidance, around maybe 8, 9 o'clock. So give it another couple of hours. There's still things we'll have to watch for, but this is a good sign, especially as we get towards Friday morning at 7 a.m. Should be crystal clear out there with just warm conditions and just some clouds around. Chase, Ben, anything else to add before we take a quick break here?
Well, I was just going to add really quick, since we're kind of at a good spot to kind of get a big picture look. Tell me what the dominant color is on your screen right now.
Oh, yeah, the flash flooding. Yes, that is becoming a big issue.
Yeah, I do want to mention that, especially, of course, out here in Hardin County, most of Hardin County, all of McNairy counties, and there's flash flood warning, as well as out towards northern Wayne County, much of Lewis County, and the northern third of Murray County. And this is, it's no surprise why, because there's been a day-by-day, 2 days in a row, I think, a Weather Prediction Center higher risk of flooding in some portions of Tennessee. So I mean, look at the breadth of the system.
Good grief.
It's very substantial.
All the way up into West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, this is a wide-ranging system, and we're kind of right here in the midst of it. And especially with these training supercells we've had, I'm sure we've picked up quite a bit of rain there. So we're going to have to watch out for those low-lying spots in the roads, and maybe some not even that low-lying, because we've picked up probably several inches of rain in some of these spots where they've rode the front. Do want to just mention that again, because flooding is, it's dangerous too, and we want to.
And it's getting nighttime.
It's getting nighttime as well. Yep. Yeah, we're approaching sunset. In fact, I think sunset is right now at 7:13. So it's about that time. But yeah, just wanted to mention that as well, real quick, because even though it's not necessarily coming at your door in 30 minutes, it's kind of this meandering threat that kind of exists on the roads and the swampways, the creeks, things like this.
Before we go off or just kind of reset things, let's go back into that supercell here just before. Just make sure that we're not missing anything. One final look before we call off here for just a little bit to make sure there's no actual developing tornado again, because they still have a tornado possible tag on it, because it has a history of producing at least 2 tornadoes, I think, so far. What's the velocity data have,
we'll
have on it? Take a look at that real quick. And there's nothing there.
Really not much. So
there's nothing. It's on the north side of the boundary at that point.
Yeah, we're getting that kind of patchy velocity thing where it's just not all that indicative of anything intense. Now, I could still see a world in which we're getting some hail out of this.
Yes.
And I could still see a world in which this is a prolific lightning. Well, it's kind of ticking down a little bit in the lightning department, so that means the storm's probably on its back foot.
I would think so.
It's probably, these storms go through stages, maturing, dissipating, and I think we're in the dissipating stages right now. Still, it's probably going to dump its guts out, and we probably will have some severe conditions in northern Marshall County here for a little bit yet, maybe another 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes. But before too long, this will be out of here, and I reckon this storm, it's probably on its last legs of dumping out some hail and lightning.
I think so, especially with that velocity signature. I think it's behind the boundary, and it's now in the cool, more stable air. So all the instability that it has right now is in the elevated portions, and even that, with all the storms that have come through this area, even that's now on the weaker side of things. So I think this one, like Jay said, is on the downward trend. It's probably on its last leg here. We'll still keep an eye on it here in the background, but the good news is I'm not seeing anything that shows more rotation developing. I don't think this is going to end up being another tornadic storm. Probably some patches of some gustier winds here, but I'm not seeing anything that spells tornado from that. All right, let's give one more backup view, and then we'll toss things back to regularly scheduled program. And again, we still have that tornado watch in effect until 10, so that's going to give us another 2 hours and about 2 hours and 45 minutes left to go with that tornado watch. But the good news is I'm not seeing anything that is significant. The only storm that we had was that one that we just mentioned. That's what we tracked all the way back here across parts of northeastern Mississippi. It's made it all the way here towards Marshall County, and it's starting to die out finally. All right. That's it for us for now. Again, like I mentioned, we're not going anywhere. We're still watching things. We'll still do updates every now and then to give you the latest information on that. But right now, we're going to take a break. We're going to reset, catch our breath, and we're going to look at some things on the background, and then we'll have another update. Since it's close to 7:30 right now, let's do another update at 8 o'clock. We'll go to the top of the hour to give us about 45 minutes worth of a little bit of a break. We can rest a little bit. So for myself, Taylor Plott, along with Chase Wilson, meteorologist. Why am I blanking on your name right now, Kelly?
Beautiful. Kelly Ross.
Been on here for so long. Meteorologist Kelly Rawson and Ben Luna in-house right now. Thank you for watching us here on the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. We're still watching things for you, and we'll keep you advised.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.